protective about it and a little bit more careful with how he decides to use those.
Now we are going on to Blackguard. I didn't notice who picked that. I would think that Pugsy is probably higher seed than LDZ just because of...
LDZ banned down to 3 and Pugsy picked up the final one.
Okay, so Pugsy ended up picking Blackguard. Blackguard has some pretty big kill walls and kill ceilings. You have a lot of space to go. I think that's really going to help Pugsy stretch out that 7 defense.
Woo!
See, even there, that was... Oh, is he able to make it back?
Woo!
Okay. Never mind, he's not going to be able to stretch out.
You don't need those walls. Yeah, there's a lot of horizontal kill box, but LDZ says, okay, well, the ground, the lower kill box, that vertical kill box, not as big of an issue. As he goes for more ground pounds onto Pugsy with his bow. Pugsy hasn't really had a chance to throw out signatures. He really hasn't had the grounded play.
And this is what I was talking about. LDZ's Koji is different from any other Koji you've ever played before because every other player is not LDZ. He is one of the most unique players, the best mix-ups, the best of pretty much everything. He's so strong. You can't read him. Pugsy was able to read Remy. You're not going to be able to read Koji. I mean, sorry, LDZ's Koji. They're one and the same.
He has earned the title of the Koji, but Pugsy gets a nice gravity cancel neutral sig. But look at his health in the top right-hand corner. Pugsy is so close to dead already.
He's been looking for those Sairs, looking for those Nairs. He's trying to pick up that weapon. And there you go. There you have it right there. You thought he was going to go straight for the weapon once Pugsy was off of it. But no, he's just going to turn around and kill Pugsy with an unarmed side air. That's all it's going to take because LDZ knows where to be at all times.
Great positioning from LDZ. And he has some... Pugsy's trying to take it away, goes for a gravity cancel side stick, but LDZ recognizes that Pugsy wants these horizontal kill options and just stays low and punishes from underneath. Stomp side air will finish off the stock. Pugsy is able to even it up. But you gotta respect LDZ. If he picks up a bow, there's high potential for ground pound off the stage. There's the bow. Gravity cancel side air. Or down light into a side air, excuse me. Ground pound?
Oh, looking for that ground pound again. That was very, very close. That came so fast. I don't know if Pugsy expected him to edgeguard that quickly. Oh my gosh, LDZ is so fast! There's such a natural flow to everything he does.
He gets a nice hit into his own bow toss that he prepped, and he gets a side air. That will be the first game going the way of LDZ, and that was impressive. Pugsy's he's got to be a little bit more careful. If he can avoid that first ground pound, that first big gimp, I think it might be a little bit closer. He was able to even up the stocks, but at the same time, he's got impressive sword play and bow play.
Still going with Sentinel. And I'm sure LDZ is still sticking with Koji. I think... I don't know what Pugsy can do at this point other than hope that LDZ gets sword and then just really bring the pain, bring the aggression, and bring the follow-ups and tech chases onto that sword. And then maybe woe back a little bit, play more defensive, don't throw as many signatures out when LDZ has that bow.
Well, LDZ doesn't have a bow, so he has plenty of opportunities to throw out six. Now LDZ is able to pick up the bow, but there's a lot of ground pound options here. LDZ can ground pound in the center shenanigans, or he can ground pound on either of the sides, whereas Pugsy, even though he's got the hammer, even though he's got recovery like that, he's still got to be wary because LDZ with his bow has so much edge guard potential. The side air. And Pugsy's dead.
And that's LDZ's just complete knowledge of how to aggress and edgeguard a hammer. You saw Remy was a little bit trepidatious, a little bit afraid to aggress because he was worried about the hammer recovery. LDZ was able to safely do it from the side and from the 45-degree angle with bow Sair, with bow Dare potential. Is he gonna do it? No! No!
Oh, that was huge.
There is no way that LDZ is a human being from planet Earth.
That was just a gigantic bait. LDZ ground pounded so deep and Pugsy wanted to punish, but LDZ got above him, got the dare. Pugsy had no options, and LDZ is looking pretty right now. He has taken next to no damage, and he's still on his first stock.
People sometimes forget about how incredibly good LDZ is. I know there are a handful of people in chat who are saying, really? LDZ is better than Dobrain? Really? And it's because we don't see LDZ a lot. And when we do see him, we see him more in 2v2 than 1v1, and he doesn't perform as well in 2v2. Let this be a lesson to you, ladies and gentlemen. The top players don't count out LDZ, so don't you dare count out LDZ. Did he just survive?
He just recovered the ground pound.
That... How does he not get hit by that? Like, he got hit by the second one, but...
Because he knows the hitboxing. He got around the hitbox of the hammer, ended up picking up the recovery on Pugsy's hurtbox, and so he ended up winning out against one ground pound, but Pugsy just mashed out a second ground pound on top of LDZ. But it's just amazing play from LDZ.
Look at the damage. Look at it.
I mean, you saw the Gibbs. You know that damage was going to be gone.
Pugsy did 171 damage. That's like a little bit into red. That is a little bit into red. Oh my gosh. LDZ taking out one of the best players in North America, two-stocking him like it's nothing.
LDZ, he is showing why we keep saying he is a monster, and he will be continuing on. We are going to be continuing on in the tournament, though. It will be Twilight. We saw Twilight take down Stevenator. We've seen his Bodvar play. We saw Crocky with this Wushang. We really didn't see a lot considering he was playing against Jellyfish, and Jellyfish is the epitome of random, even picked a random character. So it will be interesting to see how Crocky goes up with this Wushang against Twilight's Bodvar.
I think there's two things at play here. There's Twilight's ability to do the same thing and do it very well. And he's gotten to this point in his Brawlhalla competitive, let's call it career, with the side air spacing, with the downlight spacing, with his amazing spacing. Rocky, if he can figure out that formula, he has Twilight beat. The thing is that formula has been very strong. Very few people have been able to crack it. And I don't know if he has it with those gauntlets. I think he's going to have a lot of trouble with the gauntlets against Twilight's spacing. He may have a better time with Spear, just because Spear has a higher range, and I think because Spear, he's just more comfortable with it.
Well, he's got that Spear. He didn't have to worry about mixing it up, picking up the gauntlet first, and then having to throw it away. Instead, he's just going to be straight into it with the Spear. He's starting to throw out the neutral sigs, but Twilight, he's just staying aerial, knows that that neutral light from the Spear comes out in 5 frames, comes out incredibly fast, knows that that neutral sig doesn't have the same kind of anti-air height as most other neutral sigs, so he's just staying above it and punishing with dares.
And I think we've seen Crocky kind of throw down, I think, twice now. So I think he's not at the height where those throws are going to hit. Twilight hasn't been hit by either of them just because of the throw changes, because they don't have active frames coming out yet.
Rocky really wants the kill, though. You can see him. He threw out a lot of neutral sigs, threw out the side sig, a gravity cancel side sig. He's just fishing for his kill options right now, and Twilight's been able to kind of punish it. He saw him pick up a neutral light just now off of the whipped signature.
And here Twilight has this hammer. He's looking for kill options of his own right now. We're seeing him with that stomp. Crocky's staying very airborne, though. We're seeing him just touch the ground to refresh his jumps, and then he's in the air again. He doesn't want to get caught by that stomp Sair, that stomp side signature.
Ooh, and the side sig will work out for Crocky. He's able to pick it up. But Twilight, he can just come back, pick up either weapon, and go for a downlight Sair as long as Crocky is on the ground.
And now he's staying grounded now more than he was before. He's throwing out the neutral lights. He's throwing out some downlights. He was staying a lot more grounded, which I'm a little bit confused on that. But, I mean, it was working for a little while. He's able to bring Twilight into the orange. And now Twilight has a fresh Crocky to deal with.
And Twilight, he's already gotten a lot of damage. And Crocky, back to that spear play, is just staying right above Twilight. And I'd like to see Twilight go back to that kind of floaty aerial play. There's a nice dare attempt onto the I believe that's the down sig from Crocky. But Crocky picks up the gravity cancel side sig. And this Wushang pick is working out for him.
Twilight is having a little bit of trouble out-cooling the cool Croc right now.
He's got to win out in the dodge circles against the cool Croc. Croc gets a side light, down light, side air onto Twilight, side sig, knocks Twilight off the map, wants some more side sigs. He's had more success with those side sigs than with the neutral sigs, and I like that he's kind of recognized, all right, Twilight he recognizes these neutral sigs, so why not just throw out more side sigs? There's a nice neutral sig pickup.
He's looking for the edge guard with the dare. Twilight in kind of a rare position, not used to being this behind on his last stock. Crocky told me he was going to bring his best today. For sure. He wanted to kind of restore his name in the community. He hasn't been performing as strong as he used to in somewhat recent times, but coming in and getting a 2-stock on Twilight, that's the way to do it.
He is definitely showing real hard why a lot of people have respected Crocky for a reasonably long time. He's able to 2-stock Twilight, but like I said earlier, Twilight gets fired up when he gets taken down. He comes back swinging for the fences. It is going to be game 2, and it's going to be interesting to see how Twilight can adjust to this spear play from Crocky, because Twilight really didn't show a lot of answers to the Crocky spear play. He had a little bit early on, but then Crocky readjusted, started going a little bit more side sig centric, and it took down Twilight.
And it is that spear play that we've mostly been seeing so far. That's the overlap that he has with Ada. That's the familiar territory that he has for... Is his Ada still level 100, or is it 101 now?
I honestly don't know. I'm sure the gap between 100 and 101
is probably absurdly big.
It's probably just an unrealistic number.
We see him pick up gauntlets for just a second, but he's able to throw them away, get that spear, stay in the comfortable zone. And he's trying to bait out Twilight right now, neither one wanting to initiate on the other for just a moment there. Twilight is initiated with 2 side signatures. Throws the salute! Twilight is fired up. You know he's fired up right now.
That's what I'm saying. Twilight, he's basically readjusted by kind of just playing a lot safer. Wants to just punish Crocky with positioning, outspacing a lot of the spear neutralites, the spear grounded play, and Crocky has no weapons. He's got his signature gadget, the spike ball, aka the Crocky ball, but he's gonna need more than just a gadget.
Looking for these dares, looking for these signatures, and this quote signature heavy play style that he's tried to experiment with on the Wushang. But there's back to the Crocky special, the ground pound on stage, looking for the kill. Got the recovery there, sending Twilight off the top. Took very, very little damage. Still definitely an even game, but maybe Twilight has him slowed down a little bit, has him figured out a little bit after the 2-stock last game.
It's definitely a different change of pace between this game and the previous one. A little bit slower, a little bit more safety. Nobody wants to make those big commitments. Twilight, now that he's got Crocky off the stage, will go hard. Gets the ground pound dare. Gimp Crocky. Did he throw out anything?
There was nothing there.
Well, he's got the gauntlets.
And he needs to be really careful right here.
He's burned a lot. But he is able to survive, gets back up. He took a little bit of damage for that. Crocky gets a nice side sig. He's back to the spear, and he's got to be worried because Twilight seems to have found a solution to the problem.
It's just been to slow everything down and to bait out Crocky, wait for Crocky to initiate, and then counter initiate when Crocky's on recovery frames. He's not been letting Crocky get any momentum. Every single time he's been hit, it's to back up, slow things down, catch your breath.
But the second he sends Crocky flying, he goes hard. He goes for the aggressive edgeguard. You saw the stairs, you saw the ground pound dares. Twilight wants to play it slow in the neutral, but the second you give him an inch, literally, he goes for the miles of damage and he just goes all out when he has the opportunity.
Coming into game 2, Crocky 2-stocked Twilight game 1. Game 2, Twilight 2-stocked Crocky. That was a huge level of adaptability coming out from Twilight. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him play similarly this game. We're going to see him slow things down, halt Crocky whenever he can, not let him gain any momentum.
I think Crocky recognizes what Twilight's trying to do, though. He's playing a little bit more safe as well, kind of backing up, trying to force Twilight to make the big commitment. And Twilight is taking the bait, but he's really just destroying the hook as he has gotten Crocky into the orange. And he just needs to pull the trigger, get a side sig off, and Crocky could be dead.
And that's the thing. Twilight is just slowing everything down. He is still putting out consistent damage onto Crocky, albeit a little bit slower than before. He's not necessarily going for the downlight Sair combos. There are no downlight ladders. It's just a Sair here, a Nair here, and Crocky's able to pretty much do nothing in response.
But we're seeing Crocky, he's kind of slowed it down. He's trying to get back down to the neutral, and we're seeing Twilight once again. When he gets an inch, he's gonna go hard for that full mile. He is putting the pressure out onto Crocky. Crocky's gonna be sitting on the island for a little bit, tries to dodge through. He's got the gauntlets, but that's not his comfort weapon. But he's showing a little bit of comfort as he gets Twilight off the stage. But we've seen we've seen Twilight knows how to play against gauntlets. We've seen Stevenator try to play the gauntlets against Twilight, but we haven't seen a whole lot of gauntlet play from Crocky, and Crocky's not making any effort to go for the spear. Downlight tries to follow up with the side sig, but Twilight's already over it. Gonna recover. Has he touched anything? He's got enough movement with the side air to get back down to safety. And neither of them have lost their first stock, and we are almost 2 minutes into it. That is just how incredibly safe everyone is playing. Nice side sig. Twilight off the stage. Crocky wants to get the recovery kill, can't quite pick it up. It's just so paced. They're both going for the safe move and then backing up when it doesn't quite work. They both just want the opening. Twilight gets the opening with the neutral light, but Crocky not gonna get taken down, but Twilight wants to position to punish the recovery, but Crocky got the wall touch. He's got plenty of jumps. And we're gonna go back to the neutral onto the stage. The dare, the pivot dare from Twilight will finish off the stock, but Twilight is so close to death. Crocky, if he puts down the mine, nope, mine despawns, but he's got the spear, and we might see some more signatures get thrown out, or ground pounds from Crocky. Is this Sair? Needs more. Dare doesn't connect. Gravity cancel side sig. Twilight. He's going to make it difficult for Crocky. Crocky really wanted to answer back. That ground pound clashes, but it does send Twilight off the stage. Crocky's still not able to finish off this first stock of Twilight. Ground pound not going to connect. Twilight knows that Crocky's kill options are limited, and he is punishing when Crocky goes for it. The neutral light will not kill.
And this game is so incredibly long so far. Coming in just over 3 minutes, and Twilight hasn't died. Crocky's just barely getting into orange on his second stock. I'm not saying we're going to see an 8-minute game with sudden death here, but Twilight is
real
looking
possibility.
to slow it down.
It's a very real possibility here, as we are about halfway through this game and one stock has been taken off. Crocky has yet to answer back. There's the side sig, but you have to imagine that it's going to be another 2-3 minutes before Crocky loses his stock, as he's the one with the most damage on him at this point. That bomb toss is going to help, though. That's a nice.
Yeah,
nice
that'll do a solid amount of damage. I don't know how long it would have taken Twilight to do that amount of damage this game, because the DPS here is very, very low. This is all about positioning, this is all about spacing, and this is all about timing.
So Crocky, we're seeing him kind of go for some mix-ups. He went for a sidelight into the down sig on the spear. Doesn't generally work out. It's gonna be a hard read. But Crocky, once again, he's getting close to that kill percentage, so we see him kind of go for a little bit safer, trying to space out Twilight with those Sairs, punish with a dare if Twilight gets underneath. But Twilight pops up, and he knows about those Sairs. He knows about Sairs. All right.
And with those Sairs, you're seeing Crocky kind of jump and then do a Sair. You're seeing Twilight stick to the ground and then do the quicker jump Sairs, like a rising Sair, where his second swipe is hitting at the apex of his jump. Crocky is jumping, then when he hits the apex, that's when he's doing his Sair. So he's not...
Double dare.
Twilight is staying very quick and staying very grounded. He's not letting these Sair kill moves get a chance to kill him.
But Crocky's done a great job racking up the damage. Twilight back to the sword. It is a very paced game, and it is about who is ready for the marathon here. Twilight, he's got the closer kill potential. There's the side sig, gives the salute, and it's going to be difficult for Crocky to finish off this stock. You know he's going to come back and start fishing for the signature options.
And there's the gauntlet recovery. I think, did that get a buff recently?
I believe it got a damage buff.
Yeah, it was a damage buff. Just to kind of bring it back in line kind of with other recoveries in terms of the damage, but he doesn't need damage right now as much. He just needs that kill. I bet he was wishing that was a force buff instead, but he does have the spear ground pound. He does have the spear recovery, but Twilight's not going in the air, so he's not going to get a recovery chance. He's staying below Crocky, so the recovery just really isn't a kill option here. And, I mean, he gets the ground pound there. Last time he ground pounded, though, I mean, Twilight hit him with the side sig as a punish.
I think if Crocky can manage it, pushing this for the next 2 minutes, it's going to be in his favor. If he can get this to sudden death, all damage will be mitigated, and it will be down to who can get the first hit, but Crocky also has to not make the mistake of overcommitting with those ground pounds. We saw him get punished a little bit for those ground pounds, so he's got to pace this out properly.
2 minutes, it sounds like not that long, but in this game,
it is ages.
2 minutes is like 10 years, especially against a player like Twilight, who is consistently outputting damage.
Ooh.
And there is the nair off the top. How much longer did it last? Was it maybe like another 30 seconds?
It took 30 seconds to get that final kill. Twilight ends up finishing it off, wins out 2-1 over Crocky, wins out in that marathon, and will be continuing on. But that was a very paced game.
It's going to be LDZ versus Twilight in the finals of the winners bracket. Are we moving straight on to the winners finals?
I think we're going to be going down to the lower bracket as Jellyfish is hopping in. And I think we're going to be watching Jellyfish versus Stevenator for the first match of this lower bracket. This will be losers round 8, lower round 8. We haven't gotten to lower quarters just yet, but we will be seeing Jellyfish and Stevenator. And do you think Jellyfish will go for something wonky? Will he go for the Bode Bar? Will he go for the random? Or will he
I think we're going to see... I think we're going to see something normal. And all things considered, for Jellyfish, I think we are going to see a normal Jellyfish pick. I think we're going to see a Qatar character. I think we're going to see Ragnir. We might see Lucian. We might see an Asuri. I just really don't think anybody plays Queen Nai anymore. Or he's just gonna throw that in the toilet and he's gonna play Ulgrim
and then leave.
This is Jellyfish right here. This is the chaos that is Jellyfish.
Mix-ups in life, mix-ups in game, right? He completely just does whatever he wants. He's gonna pick characters and then completely leave, and then suddenly is on Silly Gobi's account. I don't really know what just happened there, but Jellyfish, I guess, maybe disconnected. Maybe he's trying to reset his game, and will be coming back in just a little bit. But Stevenator, he needs to not get thrown off by the chaos that is Jellyfish.
Or he could try and answer the chaos that is Jellyfish. Steve, one of those players who can be just needlessly aggressive, needlessly in your face. I want to see that side of him here. I really want to see him not necessarily try to out Jellyfish with the randomness, but just go for it. I want to see Stevenator go all in here and leave nothing to chance.
That would be interesting. If he gets the gauntlets, he's got a lot of potential to go just in. But he's got to clean up those gimps. You know, we saw the side light into the I believe it was a side light nair into a ground pound and then a weapon toss, and he wants to follow up with the unarmed ground pound. But if he can't pick up that ground pound, then he does a lot of damage, but there's potential for it to get turned around. We saw Twilight turn it around on him twice with dares.
I think the real thing here is if Jellyfish is able to get back into the game. That's the thing with Jellyfish, is you really never know what to expect. He's like a video game boss in that he's not in his final form of just craziness yet. You thought I was crazy? Oh, you have no idea what I have left in store.
He's a D&D character constantly rolling the die. Sometimes it's a critical hit, sometimes it's a critical miss, sometimes he rolled a popcorn kernel instead of a die. Jellyfish.
Like, there's lawful good, there's lawful evil, there's chaotic good and evil, all that stuff. Is there like double chaotic?
Well, I mean, chaotic evil. I guess chaotic. It depends on what you're trying to say.
Because Jellyfish
is probably what you're looking for.
Yeah, but just like he's just double.
He's
chaotic.
More. He's not even an alignment. He's just chaotic.
Yeah, he's just absolute chaos, and it looks like he's back. He's coming in with that Ragnir. that Qatar character that is no surprise to us and shouldn't be a surprise to anybody out there. Jellyfish is a Qatar fan through and through, especially when he's not picking random for whatever reason. But he's coming in against this Stevenator Val. We saw Steve do a little bit of work earlier with this Val, a very strong Val, but he came up at a loss against Twilight. And we'll see if he's able to kind of steady things down. We saw him lose to Twilight, which is a very consistent play style. A lot of Sair spacing, a lot of downlights and Sairs. Now contrast that to Jellyfish's just completely chaotic, unreadable, ridiculous style.
Well, Steve's gonna have to find the pattern in the chaos as he's going hard on the left side. Nice gravity cancel down sig, but the force sends it up. Jellyfish will survive, but it's a nice amount of damage onto Jellyfish.
And now we're going to see the Qatar into Gauntlet matchup. A lot of people have been debating what's better, Qatars or Gauntlets. Some people, including myself, have said that it's Qatars, but only because people have had so much time with Qatars that they just understand the weapon better.
Right now, Steve showing his comfortability with the sword, more so than the gauntlets. Haven't seen a whole lot of his gauntlets just yet. Now that he's on the gauntlets, he will be going up against Jellyfish's Qatars. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that Jellyfish wants to stick with these Qatars, but he immediately gets picked up by the downlight recovery from Stevenator.
And you really saw him fishing for that downlight recovery. I thought he was looking to go into the Gauntlet Mafia combo to send Jellyfish off the edge and try and go for a ground pound or maybe a nair, but he was actually going for the side light recovery to send him off the top. And he went for the downlight, or sorry, the side light multiple times.
Now we're seeing Stevenator's real gauntlets showing as he's racked up a lot of damage onto Jellyfish. Jellyfish, he's not really utilizing this axe kit. He's got potential to, you know, punish the approaches, go for those downlights, those sidelights. Instead, he just is walking outside of Steve's range.
Jellyfish almost looks like a bot right now. When he was just kind of moving forward a little bit and then downlighting on the left edge of the soft platform, I don't really know what Jellyfish's thought process was there. It's a little bit confusing.
I mean, that's Jellyfish, right? I don't think even Jellyfish knows what his thought process is a lot of times. He just kind of does things, and now they're just playing catch. Steve is looking to 3-stock. This is the lower bracket, and Jellyfish wanted to play catch and then sit there with the Qatars.
I think Jellyfish maybe is having some connection issues. When I talked to him a little bit earlier, he said his internet's terrible and he's been getting really bad teleports and stuff since the patch. So maybe that's what's going on here. I'm not quite 100% sure. That would definitely explain the out of the ordinary for Jellyfish, at least in this sense.
Is gonna take a stock off of Steve. Almost falls, but he will hold on. He's gonna pop the flag off, and I think it's literally a matter of time before Steve gets the stock back. We'll do it.
And there it is. Connection problems or not, that is a JV3 going the way of Stevenator, putting out a whopping almost 600 damage. Meanwhile, Jellyfish was stuck at just 167. And if Jellyfish is having the same issues that he was having last game, this game is almost free for Steve.
But tell me about this Koji pick from Jellyfish.
Well, he's wearing the disgusting Tengu mask, and in that color, that is a very red mask. I'm not sure about this Koji pick. Again, we always talk about Jellyfish's Qatars. Does Koji have either of those weapons? Are those Qatars?
I think yeah. I think they're both, when you combine them, blades plus great offstage Sairs. That's Qatars, right? How that works?
I don't think it quite works like that. Maybe if you hold your mouth just right and the plants are in alignment. But this is just going to be an uphill battle for Jellyfish.
I don't know what that statement was, but Jellyfish, he's got the mask. Maybe he's trying to Halloween his way through it and get him with the spooky costume onto Stevenator. But right now it's working. He's added up quite a bit of damage onto Stevenator, and Stevenator is trying to make these gauntlets work. He gets underneath Jellyfish, but he seems thrown off, not really getting the full strings that he's been getting throughout the tournament.
The most luck that Jellyfish has had so far has been the backwards falling Sairs, because he's been able to space Stevenator out.
I think Steve's kind of recognized it. He's gotten on top. Jellyfish is just walking off the stage, throws out a neutral sig. This is, I think just the lack of standard play from Jellyfish is really throwing off Stevenator. He does not know how to react.
I mean, he doesn't even know how to approach right now, because every time he's tried to, Jellyfish has completely sent him away. What is Jellyfish doing? It's working.
It's absolutely working. Steve really doesn't know what to do. The Nairs have yet to kill the Jellyfish. He is gonna get back down. He's got the sword, and you said down sig was bad. It didn't get punished, you know, so that's okay.
He's like standing still, and just nobody stands still. How do you?
Well, Steve doesn't know what to do about it. He really has had a hard time getting in on top of Jellyfish. He gets a side light, but Jellyfish immediately dodges, knows that it is not a true combo, dodges out again. Steve, I think he's starting to tilt. I think he's really just kind of like, what the crap is this? What do I do against Jellyfish, who's almost a non-character, but it's working out so fantastically for him?
I mean, I don't blame him. Like, I would be tilted too. How do you aggress onto somebody that you can't read? Because sometimes they move half an inch, sometimes they literally don't move. Nobody doesn't move. That's the most just insane thing to do to mind game your opponent, is to just, and he did it again. He just stopped moving.
The best move is the not move, as he gets a down sig to punish Stevenator coming in, and to a degree, it's got to be playing into Steve's head, because he doesn't know if Jellyfish is gonna bait him and completely just stop, or if Jellyfish is gonna commit, throw out a down sig, throw out a side sig, and actually try to take down Stevenator. And right now, Jellyfish throws out the side sig, but the neutral light, which we were talking about, comes out so incredibly fast, makes a lot of things safe, sends Steven in the sky, not gonna finish it off. The side air, you can't not move in the sky, so that is gonna work out for Stevenator as he takes down Jellyfish.
That's what Steve is gonna have to do. He is just gonna have to relegate Jellyfish to the sky. He's gonna have to juggle him back and forth.
Comes back, gets the kill.
That is just... That stuff happens and works in my ranked games. That stuff doesn't happen and work at this level of play. Jellyfish is doing just the weirdest, goofiest things, even for him today.
Hey, it's working, all right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. As he goes for 3 side sigs, the third one will get interrupted, and Jellyfish hasn't really been able to go back to that whole not moving playstyle. Instead, suddenly he's moving, and Steve's having a little bit more success.
He just needs to slow it down a little bit and just have herky-jerky movements, because LDZ has the flow on his side. Jellyfish has the complete opposite side of that on his side. When waves are crashing onto a shore, you know where they're crashing. But if... I don't even know where I'm going with that, because I'm so tilted by Jellyfish right now. I don't even know how to read what is going on.
Well, Steve seems to have figured it out. He gets a nice nair. Jellyfish will get past. And if that bomb connects... Oh, he went for a gravity cancel, but Steve with that dare will hold on. Jellyfish throws out the down six. Steve not able to punish Jellyfish. He's back to patience, but Steve, I think he's starting to recognize that there is a pattern to the wonkiness that is Jellyfish.
And Jellyfish is just barely behind Stevenator right now. Is he going to look for... I think he's looking for those sidelight recoveries. There's the recovery, but it misses.
Jellyfish is so close to death. Side air will finish it off. Steve does end up cleaning it up. It will go his way. 2-0. 667 damage had to be put out by Steve.
That was one of the weirdest games I have ever seen in my entire life. And it doesn't surprise me in one bit that, of course, Jellyfish was playing.
If a game looks awkward and goofy and it's in the top 8 of a tournament, odds are it's because Jellyfish is just being Jellyfish. And you know how to cure a jellyfish sting?
Yeah, but I'm not gonna say it.
You go to a vet and they give you an anti-venom. We are gonna be going on. It is gonna be. I mean, that is an option, yeah.
I didn't know they had that.
Yeah. But we are going to continue on. It is going to be Egg Soup versus Crocky. Crocky's the one who knocked Egg Soup into the lower bracket. This is Egg Soup's opportunity for redemption, but will he be able to get it?
This
We
is
haven't
Egg
seen Egg
Soup
Soup.
in
We
the
haven't seen
lower
Egg Soup in the
bracket.
whole tournament.
Hello? Who put him here?
Crocky.
Crocky put him here, and he's having to face the man who put him in a lower bracket again. Keep in mind, though, that this week, this is kind of an interesting week for Egg, because there's, other than the $1,000, of course, that's weird saying that, other than the $1,000, nothing is really on the line for Egg right now. He already has his ticket and his hotel, his plane ticket and his hotel, and of course his event ticket paid for by BMG for winning the US West Regional Qualifier. So right now, this tournament for him, and this is directly from him, this is just practice for BCX. He is looking down past today, and he is looking at Worlds. He is not focused on winning today. This is completely practice for him right now.
Well, he is going to be getting his practice against the Wushang, something I don't think he's had a whole lot of experience playing against. Hopefully he was watching that set of Twilight. I know he was fighting in the lower bracket, so we didn't have a whole lot of opportunities to watch the tournament, but hopefully he was watching the Twilight game to kind of recognize how he needs to play against Crocky. I don't think we're going to be seeing the same pacing from Egg Soup. Egg Soup generally doesn't like to have games go past 5 minutes. But it is going to be interesting to see how this shakes out here in game 1 of this lower bracket match. It's going to be Crocky versus Egg Soup.
Egg is going to be in Crocky's grill 100% of the time. He's able to do that with the chase dodge changes, so he's able to chase dodge in, cancel the chase dodge, have some iframes there on the startup of his attack. He's also able to do that without worrying about taking a weapon throw to the face and then having that followed up by unarmed damage and taking 12, 15, sometimes as much as 30 damage here and there, just as a punishment for being aggressive.
But Crocky he's knocking Egg Soup around. A nice clash, weapon toss doesn't connect, ground pound not going to connect as well, and we're seeing why Crocky was able to take it out. He's just been able to knock Egg Soup. Egg Soup was just kind of falling for a lot of these wonky plays from Crocky, where he throws out a side stick and Egg Soup not ready for it.
And Crocky has been doing such a great job of countering Egg's initiation with that side sig. He's just been throwing those out. He hasn't been worrying about dodging the attack that Egg is throwing out or trying to beat it with frames or anything like that. He's just been throwing out that hitbox, and that's been completely negating all of Egg's ground-based initiations.
We're starting to see Egg start rolling, throwing out those side lights. Throwing out the side six. He wants to finish off the stock from Crocky, but Crocky just has so many answers to the kill options from Egg Soup. A neutral sig to punish the aerial play from Egg Soup as he's trying to recover back. He is going to get back down, but Egg Soup he's struggling. He's legitimately struggling against this Wushang.
I think it's really going to come down to an issue of this week is practice for him. He said it himself that because something's not on the line, like big match Egg is not going to come out in him. He is not going to try as hard as he normally would. The high pressure really brings out the best in Egg. I guess when you put an Egg under high pressure and intense heat, that's what you get diamonds from. It's not carbon, it's eggs.
That's also not how you make
it's cool, whatever. I don't know.
It's cool. Egg Soup is going to be able to clean up the stock of Crocky, but he is already getting deep into the red. He is close to death, and Crocky, he's been so effective with those signatures. I would not be surprised to see him just start swinging with them. But Egg Soup gets a solid string. There's a spear. Ground pound, and not dead yet.
Staying alive. That's 6 defense from Val paying dividends. We're seeing a little bit. We're seeing a little bit of that comeback Egg coming into play here. He just kind of turned around and took Crocky from white to orange really quick. But Crocky was able to stay and have stage control and have that ground pound control, so he was able to take out Egg.
Egg Soup, now he's going up against Crocky again. Egg Soup, he had the most success when Crocky was unarmed. It's kind of the same thing we were talking about earlier. Crocky really likes his spear play. He's got incredible spear play, but the second he's unarmed, the second he's on gauntlets, that's your opportunity to go hard. And Egg Soup kind of took advantage of it, was able to rack up a lot of bit of damage. But once Crocky's back on the spear, Egg Soup doesn't have an answer. Side sig will kill.
Egg Soup's answer so far, though, has been with Val, he's able to do things quickly. He doesn't have a ton of force, but he doesn't necessarily need the force. Sometimes he does struggle a little bit with killing, but really the thing with Val that has really allowed him to shine has been the high defense. It's been that 6 defense that's allowed him to extend stocks and stay alive longer. But I don't know what he's able to do right now against this Wushang, this Sig-heavy Wushang playstyle. Because all of the aggression he's giving out, it doesn't matter. Crocky's able to turn it around. Maybe he is going to have to be forced, absolutely forced to slow it down.
Maybe not necessarily go as super paced as we saw when Twilight was able to take down Crocky, but maybe just recognize that Crocky likes to punish those approaches from Egg Soup, start waiting for those signatures, and then punishing with a counterplay. This is opportunity. Crocky is waiting for the spear, and he is going to be picking it up.
Crocky's just outranging him with these spear side airs. Crocky's just throwing out these signatures. He wasn't kidding when he said that he likes these signatures because they have a low recovery. He's able to just throw them out, and Egg hasn't really been able to punish him.
It is 100% working for Crocky as he has knocked Egg into the red and is knocking him around. Egg Soup really needs a better answer to the spear play. Needs to recognize when Crocky is fishing for one of those signatures and get underneath. But a ground pound sends Egg Soup off the map. He's got the stairs to get the movement. Nice weapon toss. He needs a lot more damage on the Crocky before he can even think about killing, as Crocky just has to pick up the recovery.
And he can't even get in close enough to do the damage on Crocky. Every time he gets close enough, Crocky turns around with a signature, or he turns around with a recovery or a ground pound. And Egg's been trying to somewhat initiate with weapon tosses, but they've been really far away weapon tosses because otherwise they won't hit after the throw toss change.
But Crocky is showing how to make that weapon toss where it gets a nice weapon toss into a recovery back up, and he knows his weapon spawns the order so that he knows he's safe. He's got a spear in the tank if he needs it.
There's a downlight stare. That's not going to kill at this point. The medium 5 defense from Wushang and the 4 force from Val is finally going to kill Crocky. Egg's been largely untouched though.
But this is his one and only opportunity, and he didn't get a whole lot out of it. Crocky, once again, he's got the spear, and he's going to pace it, and it's going to force Egg Soup to find a way in.
Stock-wise and health-wise, this is actually starting to look like the first best of 5 between Egg and Pugsy back at the US East Regional Qualifier. Egg was taking a long time to kill. He was dying first, and then but then he would immediately hit the turnaround kill. He would immediately hit it. Once he was dead, the pressure was on, and that's when he got the kill. And that's kind of been the story with Crocky here. Egg was the first to die, but then he immediately turned it around and killed Crocky.
Now we're seeing Egg, he's adjusted. He's starting to go a little bit more aggressive, trying to change up his approaches, a lot more sidelights, a lot more weapon tosses, punishing these ground pounds with a great neutral light, picks up a gravity against a downlight recovery, and I think Egg Soup has recognized that he has his own way of getting in on Crocky. Can't quite pick up the gravity cancel neutral sig, but Crocky, as long as he doesn't have a spear, Egg Soup has control.
Egg did end up getting the kill there. Actually, when Egg went for that neutral signature, I wanted him to immediately get back to the platform and throw away that weapon. Just so he still had guaranteed, to completely strip the field and guarantee weapon advantage. Even though he did immediately get the kill, I would have liked to see him strip the field.
But now that Crocky's back on the spear, Egg Soup is once again forced to try to find the approach. He gets a sidelight, great patience to pick up the recovery. He's gonna go back to the sword.
And even though this is aggressive Egg Soup that we've all come to know and love, he is slowing down the game. This is slowing it down for Egg Soup. He's having these little pops of aggression like popcorn in the microwave. It's not just a dull roar that's in your face all the time. It's these little pops of aggression that Crocky is having to completely read and bait and then punish.
It's very intelligent aggression from Egg Soup. He gets caught by the ground pound from Crocky, but you're seeing him, he's not just going in, like you're saying. It's not just in your face, all out, I'm just gonna make it so that you can't think about your options, because Crocky clearly, he knows what his options are every single second. So instead, Egg Soup, he's pacing it out, and now that Crocky has no weapon, the next one he's gonna pick up is the Gauntlet, and Egg Soup, he has a lot of potential here to kill off Crocky. Oh,
Crocky
next one's
gets a
spear.
spear again.
My mistake. Oh!
One more of those might kill.
But Egg Soup's trying to get underneath, trying to get that recovery. Crocky's starting to throw out the signatures. He knows how close Egg Soup is to dead. Egg Soup, the word gets caught by the ground pound, and Crocky takes it out 2-0 over Egg Soup.
This Wushang Sig heavy play style that I had no idea was coming until I talked to him. I'll admit I haven't been watching his streams recently. I don't know if this is something he's been working on privately or if he's been showing this in his ranked grind. But he just 2-0'd Egg. Granted, it was, I guess, quote, an off week for Egg. Egg wasn't sick this week. There was nothing on the line. He got a good night of sleep last night. So that's not the normal Egg we're used to dealing with. We're normally used to half dead, half an hour of sleep. He maybe blinked 3 times, and that was the only shut-eye he got. So this is a different Egg than we've seen, but this is also a different Crocky than we've seen.
That was a very impressive showing from Crocky, but we are going to be going on in the tournament. We're going to be seeing Stevenator and Pugsy fight it out. And do you think Pugsy's going to be sticking with the Sentinel? He's been playing it out. Yeah. He is
100%. I think Pugsy's going to stick with the Sentinel. I think that is a great choice here. I don't know. He's probably going to stick with this the entire time. Maybe if he makes it into grand finals. I think, honestly, LDZ is the only thing that's going to take out Pugsy's Sentinel right now. He's looking really strong. I don't think Steve has the punish game that LDZ has. I don't think Steve is going to be able to get around the signatures like LDZ was.
He's going to have to recognize how Pugsy likes to throw those signatures out and recognize that Pugsy likes to go for those long-range side sigs and go for the neutral sigs when you are approaching. If Steve goes too aggressive, he's going to get caught by a lot of those neutral sigs on the hammer. On the other side, Pugsy's Qatar play has kind of been off. I don't know quite how to describe it.
It's been lackluster.
It's really been his hammer play that's been keeping him in this tournament, for sure.
It's been the signatures from the hammer. It's even been the just light attacks from the hammer. And hammer, it's just a weapon that he's more familiar with. He knows it from Bodvar. He doesn't know the signatures from Bodvar, but he knows the hammer nair. You've seen him juggle people into oblivion with the hammer nair. You've seen him throw into neutral-light combo, which isn't as doable anymore after the recent throw changes, making stack throws more difficult and close-range throws. But it's really been the hammer play that has carried him so far. He's been able to convert more damage and convert damage into kills.
Oh, but Steve, he's showing his gauntlet play, and Pugsy, even though he hasn't had the best guitar showing, it's really showing its face right now. He gets a nice side air. We'll give him some breathing room, and I'm surprised he didn't immediately take the opportunity to use that weapon that's on the board and switch to the hammer.
He might be trying to combat the Stevenator aggression. I think he's going to be ready for a lot of gauntlet ground pounds here. He is going to want Steve to come down so that he can Sair him under the stage like he just did when Steve overcommitted with the ground pound.
But it's not like that Sair killed. Steve needs a whole lot more damage on him for the Sairs to kill. But the neutral sig from underneath will be a kill option. And Pugsy's going to be sticking with his guitar play. Maybe he didn't appreciate us saying his guitars were a little lackluster.
He's throwing the hammer away and electing to stay with guitars. I know he played Asuri for like a brief moment, but he didn't have success with it. That was back when I said that was the quote sign of a washed player when a non-Asuri player switched to Asuri. But I know that he also technically has a Lucian in the tank that he might be looking to play today, possibly. So, I mean, that's also another Qatar character. So maybe he is confident in his Qatars. Maybe it was just against literally one of the top, probably 3 best players in the world that maybe his Qatars looked a little bit weak.
Right now, he's going up against Steve, and Steve's gauntlets are looking strong. He knows Pugsy wants to get that recovery. He knows that Pugsy's kind of baiting for it, and he's respecting it, playing right outside of that range, and then trying to catch Pugsy with a dare if Pugsy goes too high. Ooh, but he gets caught by the ground pound from Pugsy.
And Pugsy is still throwing those signatures out. He's a little bit more liberal with them on the hammer than he is with the guitars. But now we're starting to see him come out. And Stevenator has been able to punish some of the hammer ones. He hasn't really been able to punish the guitar ones. We just saw a side signature and a neutral signature. We haven't seen a down signature, though.
Well, he hasn't really been fishing for the signatures with the guitars the way he's been kind of throwing them out with the hammer. Instead, a lot of times when he throws out the signatures, it's to punish something that Steve did. That's probably the first time he's fished for it, but a lot of times Steve goes for like a gravity cancel downlight, Pugsy's underneath, and just throws out the neutral sig.
That's interesting because the guitar signatures are for punishment and the hammer signatures are for initiation.
Nice. I don't have words for that. That was just a really nice gravity cancel downlight grab pound from Steve.
Respect where respect is due. Real recognize real.
Yeah, that was a good play. Stomp side air. The mine is gone. It will not be sending Steve into it. But Pugsy, he's got a huge health advantage right now. But he's got to be careful. He knows that if he plays too hard on the wall, there is game potential for Steve with those gauntlets.
Steve's real red right now. The Pugsy is fishing for that dare. He's probably thrown 5 or 6. Just completely uninterrupted, but he's going to turn around and hit the neutral sig and take that game from Stevenator, waving that Canadian flag proudly. I know Pugsy specifically really likes that taunt. Just because of the Canadian flag. He can rep it.
Gotta rep his nation. It will be game 1 going the way of Pugsy. I guess he had more solid, consistent guitar play, a lot of great punishes underneath Stevenator. Mostly I'm thinking about that neutral signature to get underneath Stevenator, but I think Steve's going to start recognizing that, try to outspace those neutral sigs, and then punish horizontally if Pugsy goes a little bit too aggressive with those neutral sigs.
I think we're going to see a lot of the same from Pugsy, though. I think because Steve has been initiating a lot with those sidelights, especially to kill. Steve has been initiating with those gauntlet sidelights looking for the recovery. And I think Pugsy is just going to be ready to punish those. I think Pugsy is going to be able to adapt faster than Steve is.
But Steve, we're starting to see some of his sword play come out. The sword will be able to outrange the guitars, but he throws it away. Pugsy got a little bit of extra damage out for it. Get back on the gauntlets. I'd like to see him kind of use those downlights to outrange the guitar play from Pugsy.
But I think Pugsy recognizes that as an option, and he's staying very air-based right now. He's occasionally staying on the ground, but only when Steve might be coming over the edge. Other than that, he's staying kind of aerial.
Great patience from Stevenator. Gets one side light, waits for Pugsy to try to dodge out, does a gravity cancel side light, and then immediate recovery because Pugsy doesn't have a dodge. It is going to kill. That is going to be the first stock going the way of Steve, and I love that patience. And a ground pound to send him into the mine.
And Steve pulling a nice little lead for himself here. Pugsy's looking to stay on the side, looking to get that hammer recovery, possibly the hammer nair when Steve comes over to edgeguard, but Steve's not going to have it. And here he's going to aggress!
Got the extra stock to burn. He can afford it, and if he gets it, it's going to work out great. But Pugsy with the nairs keeps Steve in the sky, will finish off the stock. He is in the orange, and there is no weapon for Steve as Pugsy is not able to clear it. That bomb toss will send Pugsy away.
And Steve's going to go up immediately and try and get that close-range bomb throw. It doesn't matter right now. Steve is so much ahead. Pugsy getting very much into the red. Almost that deep... What did you call it? Horror movie red?
Yeah, that's the horror movie. That's the horror movie red.
I don't understand that, but we're going to go with that. I trust you.
What, you don't watch enough horror movies? When the room is all bloody, it's that deep, dark red.
I haven't seen it in Dead by Daylight, and that's my entire knowledge of horror things.
I guess you're right. I don't really remember a whole lot of blood in Dead by Daylight. But Pugsy gets a nice neutral sig underneath Stevenator. Stevenator is not as red. The clash is out, but Steve is the one who gets sent flying.
And Pugsy is still looking for those neutral sigs. There's the down sig we were talking about earlier. Mixing it up just a little bit with that down signature. And Steve, with that side air, is going to bounce past Pugsy off the wall into the kill box. And Steve had a solid lead. That's shrunk just a little bit now, and that's unarmed side air is going to kill. Pugsy's really sticking with this hammer.
Got the hammer. It is his comfort pick. We actually haven't seen a whole lot of his hammer play in this set so far, as he gets a nice stop and still manages to pick up the dare. I'm surprised Steve didn't try to get out of the way of that.
I think Steve right now is really going for that strong style where he knows he's going to take damage, but his goal is to stay in Pugsy's face. All the little bits of damage, he can maybe afford that right now. He has a fair bit of defense. He's not worried about being killed. He's just worried about putting the pressure onto Pugsy.
fishing for those dares now. He can afford it in the defense department a little bit to try to trade out, but actually, regardless, he needs a big gimp right now. Gets a nice weapon toss, and that is the gimp he needs. Gets the nair into the weapon toss to finish it off, and he is going to even it up. It is going to be 1-1, and I think Pugsy's guitars ended up working out better for him than the hammer, oddly enough.
I think they really did. It was just, so if Steve was able to get in, that's when he was able to just wreak havoc onto Pugsy, and Pugsy wasn't really able to do anything to stop him. He wasn't able to do those close range stack throws followed up by an unarmed neutral air or anything like that to give him room, stop the momentum that Steve had, and to do damage. He just wasn't able to use that as an option. And so when Steve was able to get in, Pugsy was toast.
But if he has the guitars, he has a little bit more options on how to punish. Or if he can stay grounded, he's got the neutral light. You saw him get a neutral light, try to go for that speed dodge nair, picks it up. But he is going to have a little bit of trouble if Steve can get on top of him. He's got to try to space it out and stay maybe aerial throughout those dares and nairs. We saw him get a kill with a nair earlier on.
It's looking like he's trying to stay a little bit more aerial. He's mostly trying to max range everything against Steve. It's going to really be Steve's ability to tech chase here and just completely stay onto Pugsy and put out those damage, hitboxes, all of that business, and just keep Pugsy on his heels.
Woo! And the nair to follow up. Steve gets taken down, and now we're seeing the hammer play. It seems like if we criticize a weapon of Pugsy's, he just shows how strong he can be with it. And Stevenator, now that he's got the sword, he's going to be switching up. He's got the gauntlets, but he gets immediately interrupted with a downlight from Pugsy.
Was that... How in the world did Stevenator beat that side signature with that nair? That was amazing, and oh my word, this quick turnaround!
Oh, not enough to kill. Once again, not able to pick up that ground pound. He needs to figure out that timing, and he will have basically guaranteed kills on his opponents.
It's just, that's an insanely difficult timing to get on top players, which is why you don't see gauntlets being favored that much. There are a handful of people that play them and play them well, but if there was a way to get that timing perfect and get the guaranteed kill, you know gauntlets would be played left and right dime a dozen.
Again, he gets the side air. He knows that throw angle. The second he gets the side air, immediately throws it, takes down Pugsy. Did take a little bit of damage, but as long as he can keep Pugsy off of a weapon, I think he's going to have a decent chance. But Pugsy's doing a great job staying outside the hitboxes and waiting for his opportunity to pick up a weapon.
Now we have those guitars, and Pugsy is immediately looking for those signatures. He was looking to juggle Steve again with the neutral signatures, but it was just the guitar recovery that put Steve in the top left corner.
Pugsy's got a full stock advantage. Steve, I know I keep saying Steve needs a big gimp, but once again, Steve needs a big gimp, and Pugsy with his hammer, it's going to be hard to gimp him. A lot of the gauntlet gimp potential comes from that vertical play, and well, hammer's got recovery and it's got ground pound, two very strong vertical attacks.
And you also have the throw options on the side. If you're not stacked, you have a gigantic throwing hitbox that you can throw and then follow up with unarmed. That could be the gimp that Stevenator needs. This game is almost dead even.
Pugsy's gonna come back. He's got the hammer again. Steve's gotta make sure he approaches properly. If he doesn't approach properly, Pugsy is gonna punish him. He gets in with a dare. Pugsy gets up, has a dare of his own.
And you're seeing Steve approach almost every single time if it's on stage. You're seeing him approach with the chase dodge, canceling the chase dodge into the attack for that iframe coverage.
But now he's got no weapons. He's got the sword pickup, but you know he's thinking about the gauntlets. Goes for the sidelight, but Pugsy's already there with the stomp side air. Steve has disarmed himself, but he picks up the sword again. You know he wants the gauntlets. There's the gauntlet pickup. Nice nair, nice ground pound, nice gravity cancel neutral light to add up some damage onto Pugsy. Another nair. Wants to keep that pressure going, but couldn't quite pick up the dare.
There's that throw again from Pugsy that completely eliminated the momentum that Stevenator had. Even though they were pretty close together, they weren't stacked, so it just had time to be able to have active frames.
They're both so close to dead. Pugsy with the neutral sig.
I thought it was going to be a side signature, but the second I saw Steve miss that move, I knew Pugsy was going to hit the signature there. He went with the neutral signature. He threw out so many of those. He didn't have hardly any luck with the hammer signatures.
Solid play, able to space out the attack from Stevenator. Pugsy ends up closing it up 2-1 in the finals of that match, and we are going to continue on. It is going to be the lower semis. It is going to be Pugsy against Crocky.
And this is going to be another one of those games that's going to be interesting, like the Egg Soup. There's the Lucian pick. I love Heatwave colors on Lucian, looks so good. I don't like him on that skin. That's probably my least favorite Lucian skin other than the default. But, oh man, I love Heatwave colors on Lucian. But as I was saying, this is going to be another game of the player having to adapt to Crocky and almost play Crocky's game. Maybe Pugsy has some secret weapon, but Twilight had to slow down to play Crocky. He did beat him, but he still had to slow down. Egg Soup had to slow down. It wasn't quite to the crawl that Twilight did, but he still definitely had to slow down his play. He had to space out the timing of his aggression like popcorn, and he still had to relax a little bit, and he couldn't go just completely everything up against the wall. Pugsy, I think, is going to have to do the same thing.
So why would he wait till now to switch to Lucian?
I think the guns are going to come into play here. He's going to have the spacing of the guns, and we're going to see a lot of Sares, and we're going to see a lot of Dares. I think specifically with the Katars, if he's confident in his Katars right now, he is going to have one heck of a time trying to get in on Crocky with Katars.
All right, well, why would he go for Lucian over Barraza? We know he's had a solid Barraza history. He's had some solid gunplay with that Barraza. What is it about the Lucian?
Maybe it's the movement speed. Maybe he's just going to be able to out-rotate around Crocky and truly win what Crocky calls an actual dodge circle. He's just going to be able to position and then reposition and adapt on the fly and get around Crocky's signatures. That could be my only guess for why he would switch to Lucian right now. I know he's not a huge fan of Barraza anymore. I think some of it has to do with Barraza's guns. It could just be signatures. Other than that, I'm not sure why he doesn't like Barraza anymore. But maybe another reason for the Lucian is to warm it up, just so it's ready for his onslaught on finals if he thinks he's gonna make winners finals. Or sorry,
he is gonna have to fight the loser of Twilight versus LDZ if he can get through Crocky. And right now, Pugsy, he's just sticking with these Katars, and it seemed like the Sentinel did help warm him up because he's having a lot of success getting on top of Crocky. Crocky really hasn't had an answer to this. Oh, Pugsy, that was a dangerous play, dodging downwards along the wall, but Crocky not a strong punish. Went for the weapon toss. Maybe a pickup dare was the follow-up option, but Pugsy gets a nice side air, sends Crocky off the wall.
I think he wasn't really expecting Crocky to edgeguard very hard on that. He was looking to build a little bit of space. He didn't want his hurt box to kind of peek over that corner and get caught by a down signature or a side signature or a neutral signature or anything like that. He knew that Crocky hasn't been edgeguarding 100%, completely committing to those edge guards so far. It's been a ground pound here or there with the spear, but that's pretty much been it.
Crocky, he's starting to finish for those kills. We're seeing him start throwing for those ground pounds, but he's canceling him out. I think he's trying to bait Pugsy into a ground pound punish and then try to follow up with something. But Crocky, he needs his kill option now. That side air is not going to be the kill option. He's going to the gauntlets. The ground pound will do it. That will finish off the stock, and I think Pugsy's going to be looking for the gauntlet. Or, sorry, the Katars. He doesn't have gauntlets. What character is this?
This is Lucian. He has guns and Katars. He is a highwayman. I think he's going to stick with guns here for a little bit. He did do some work with the Katars. He's finding trouble hitting with guns, though. Starting to build up a little bit of momentum. I don't like Great Hall with guns right here. I'd like to see him play a flatter map. I wouldn't even want to see him do Twilight Grove here. I'd like to see him switch to a Mammoth, possibly a Thunder Guard, or a Shipwreck.
Did get the wall touch. Crocky wanted to keep the pressure going. They're just going to be fighting it out along this wall, but they come back up. Pugsy was able to rack up quite a bit of damage, and you know, Crocky was the one who got to pick up the map. He got to choose between three. Pugsy left Great Hall on the board, and I think he didn't expect Crocky to really want it. There isn't a lot of benefits to the spear or gauntlets on this map. You know, they can't really utilize the ledges that well. At best, it gives a lot of recovery options, but I guess there's a little bit of a bait, and it worked out to just kind of peter out as Pugsy with these Katars is going to be trying to add up more damage, and I'd like to see him switch to the guns. The guns were pretty effective.
I would definitely like to see that now that Crocky has the spear. While he had gauntlets, Pugsy was doing a great job of overspacing everything. He wasn't doing a great job of necessarily doing damage, but he wasn't taking very much damage, and he was baiting the heck out of Crocky. Crocky was outputting so many attacks, and Pugsy just wasn't getting hit by them.
Once again, Crocky, I think Pugsy recognizes the general habits of Crocky. Crocky likes to go for those ground pounds, and Pugsy 100% is outside of them and wants to punish them.
And that's one of the first guitar signatures we've seen from Pugsy so far. He hasn't really thrown very many out. We had a couple gun side signatures, I think, and there he's looking to possibly edge guard Crocky. But you see, nope. He waited, he slowed down his edge guard, and he waited again. He waited for Crocky to throw something out before he went over and decided to punish.
But it ends up clashing out, and it ends up working out in Crocky's favor in the sense that he ended up cleaning up the stocks. But you're right, Pugsy hasn't really been throwing out a lot of signatures, not really huge commitments. It's a little bit of a pace game. Not seeing the insane aggression that we saw when Eggsy was fighting Crocky, but we're also not seeing the same very slow pacing that we saw from Twilight. Instead, Pugsy's kind of just recognizes the habits of Crocky and knows how to bait and punish it.
I don't know. I think this game is deceptively long. I think it's actually longer than it feels like it is. Pugsy's doing a great job with Lucian of moving around a lot and repositioning all the time. I mean, this game has gone over 4 minutes. This is a 4.5-minute game, that's a very long game. But Pugsy was doing a great job of constantly staying moving, using that high Lucian movement speed to be able to position, reposition, move around, and get where he needed to be.
And we're seeing for the first time in this tournament, Crocky has been forced to switch to the Ada. Pugsy's going to be on this Lucian. He had solid guitar play against Crocky's spear play, and maybe he'll be able to keep that momentum, keep that movement, and outspace a lot of the spear moves from Crocky. But at the same time, he's got to readjust to the new character, essentially.
I think that's going to be the issue with Crocky switching to Ada right here, is he plays the two pretty differently. Definitely Wushang's signatures have a higher skill cap than Ada's do. Ada's are just kind of, you just do it. You just throw out a side signature. You don't really do the neutral signature that much, just because you're in the, it has a lot of active frames, but you're in the air for a long time, and if you miss, you're very readable, you're very punishable. Then you occasionally throw out the down signature, things like that. I think there's a lot more variation for the Wushang signatures. We probably won't see as many signatures, and we'll see a lot quicker gameplay. Maybe not as fast as like Pugsy would normally do, or Egg Soup would normally do, but we are going to see faster gameplay.
I mean, just the simple fact that Crocky is sacrificing a whole lot of defense to switch to the 3 defense Ada will definitely speed up the pacing of this game. But Crocky, we're seeing him. He's going to try to go guns against Pugsy's guns. Ground pound. Another one. Another one. And Pugsy gets past with the recovery, but Crocky immediately picks up a downlight, and we're going for more ground pounds, but Pugsy's will get the kill, and he is going to drop the flag.
And that's a little bit interesting that Pugsy and Crocky, or sorry, that Crocky was going for the guns. He was staying with the guns even though there were weapons on the field, and normally he's been traditionally a spear main. I'm a little bit confused. Maybe that was a salty run back saying, oh, you're going to play guns? I can play guns too.
But it looks like Pugsy's gunplay is a little bit better as he gets a nice downlight side air. Crocky again going to the ground pound play, and Pugsy's just far and away outside of it, going a lot of horizontal against Crocky's ground pounds. If
Crocky would wait just a little bit on his initiations with the ground pounds, because Pugsy isn't feeling the pressure. He is taking his sweet time getting back to the platform. He is blowing everything sometimes, including his dodge, all of his jumps, and his recovery. So if Crocky would just kind of wait out, be a little bit more patient, and not just immediately initiate with that ground pound, I think he'd have a lot better luck, because Pugsy's burning everything.
And the side air from Pugsy. Didn't have to burn a lot for that one. Crocky gets taken down. He is one stock away from getting knocked out of this tournament. Pugsy back to the guns. He's had so much success with his guns. It seems like the guitar play was mostly a direct attempt to punish the spear play, and specifically from the Wushang. His gunplay is just it's just immaculate right now.
And Crocky's been he's having trouble with these gun dittos. He started having a little bit of Surgence of Life just now before Pugsy kind of turned it around. He was hitting some nairs. He was juggling Pugsy with some nairs, doing a little bit of damage, but even with that recovery, Pugsy's still staying in there. Lucian has so much defense. He's able to take the punishment and keep going, and Crocky is just at a loss of what to do right now.
Every single time, you talked about it a second ago, he burns so many things and it works. He just burns so many of his options to just get away from Crocky, and Crocky really hasn't been able to punish the fact that Pugsy's burned, you know, 3 jumps and a dodge. Nice side sig, will finish off the stock as Pugsy tries to go in with the down sig. We're seeing a lot more Qatar signatures come out from Pugsy as well in this game.
And it's not even an issue of Crocky just being aggressive and Pugsy being passive. It's an issue of Crocky actually not recognizing the way Pugsy is recovering, because he's done it more than a few times. It's been a trend in the way that he is recovering, because Pugsy is the one who's noticed what Crocky was doing.
But Pugsy, just with solid gunplay, ends up cleaning up the stock. That will be Pugsy winning it out 2-0 over Crocky. Forced him off the Wushang, and then just great gunplay, winning out in the Ditto. And we will be continuing on. We will be going back to the winners bracket to watch LDZ versus Twilight.
This is going to be an interesting clash of styles here, because LDZ, we've said it earlier, is the mix-up lord, the mix-up king. You never know how he's going to initiate on you. Meanwhile, Twilight is the consistency god. He's the guy who is spacing everything out with side airs. He is the guy who probably has more side air damage and more side air kills than anyone else in the game. And so it's consistency versus variety. And I wonder if LDZ is just going to be able to download him and adapt to that immediately, or if Twilight's consistency is going to be able to just do the damage he needs to do, get the kills when he needs to get the kill, and just get out, you're done.
I mean, you say Twilight is a consistent player, and I absolutely agree, but he also has his own version of an adaptation. We saw in the upper bracket when he's fighting Crocky, he had a little bit of trouble going aggressive onto Crocky, so he immediately switched to a more paced spacing, just waiting for the proper opportunities, very, very safe play style, and in his own way, that is his mix-up. It is a complete playstyle 180 compared to the aggressive downlight side airs. And if he can get LDZ off the stage, you want to believe Twilight's going to be going for that gimp, that ground pound dare gimp. But it's LDZ. We saw those bow ground pound gimps.
And honestly, anytime you're going into a game against LDZ, you have to question every single decision you make. You have to have your brain focused on what you're doing at hand and ready to adapt at any moment. You have to have a plan set in motion for everything you do, while also being able to completely abandon that plan and do something else at a moment's notice.
Well, we'll see if Twilight will be able to adjust to the mix-ups of LDZ. Will he be able to read the approaches, the dodge-ins, the complete chaos, but intelligent chaos that is LDZ. Here it is. It is going to be game 1 of the upper bracket finals, and LDZ is going to pick up the bow, but Twilight picks up a nice neutral light, and they have traded damage for damage.
And keep in mind, this is the upper bracket finals. We are definitely very nearing the end of the tournament today. The loser of this will go down to fight Pugsy, the winner of Pugsy and Crocky. And the winner will be up here waiting for the winner of the next set to fight in grand finals for that wonderful $1,000 prize pool.
Moment of truth. LDZ going for the gimps. Twilight wasn't able to pick up the recovery and will get taken down. LDZ, he's got a decent health advantage right now. Twilight, you know he's thinking about the sword, and that is the weapon he's going to pick up. He gets a downlight, can't quite pick up the recovery, and LDZ is going to go for the sword versus sword, and he's winning out right now with that downlight dare.
And you saw LDZ kind of start to aggress to edgeguard Twilight after he was already dead, but then he saw that Twilight was dead. He knew he was going to reach for the hammer recovery if LDZ went anywhere near him. And that low, with Koji's lower defense, and he was on the border between orange and red, that would have absolutely killed. That was intelligence from LDZ, not wanting to chase a kill that was already confirmed.
We're seeing Twilight, other side of the spectrum, was chasing LDZ off the left side. Very standard Twilight play to stay horizontal, pick up those sword stairs, and he evened up the stocks with it.
And he's staying frighteningly even with LDZ right now. I don't want to discount Twilight by any means, but LDZ truly is widely considered to be one of the best players in the world. And probably one of the best player in North America. And Twilight's doing a fantastic job right now of maintaining his composure, maybe maintaining about 50-50 control right now with LDZ. And he's going unarmed onto LDZ's bow right now.
And he picks up the dare, not enough to finish it off. He's going to go back to the sword, and it's really been Twilight's sword play that's been keeping him alive. A lot of mix-ups, a lot in the way of downlight dares, downlight stairs, and he just controls the edge so well. Gets a nice down air onto LDZ to finish off that stock. LDZ, you know he's going to come back, try to hit just a downlight recovery or a downlight stare, finish off and even up.
And this is LDZ on US East. Normally he plays on US West, but a win right here for Twilight would be absolutely huge. It would be gigantic for potential sponsors. It would be gigantic for just personal morale, knowing that you beat literally one of the best players in the world.
I feel like you're discounting how good of a player Twilight is. Twilight has shown time and time again that he too is one of the best players in the world, and that is the reason why he's holding his own against LDZ, and if not in the lead right now in health, as he's just ticked LDZ into the orange.
I'm just so excited I get to see LDZ and it's not 2v2. I love watching him play 1v1. And the flow to everything that he does, he makes everything look so easy.
He's got a very solid 1v1 history. He knows how to control the map, and it's easier to read one person than two people. LDZ will be trying to get the edge guard onto Twilight, but Twilight, he's actually kind of controlling the edge against LDZ. If he can push LDZ off onto the edge, I think he's got an advantage and a chance.
Twilight.
Downlight side air for either will kill, or just a down air from Twilight, punishing the down signature from LDZ. I think that's the second time LDZ's tried to catch someone with that down sig and gotten punished.
I was just about to say, the last time that happened, he got killed by it. This time it happened, he got killed by it. LDZ, please stop Koji sword down sigging. I know how cool it looks, believe me. I love doing cool moves. This is not the time for cool moves. If you want, I will get in scrims with you and you can down sig me to death because it'll happen very quickly, it'll be easy, and it'll look cool.
It's a mind game, all right? The more he does it, the more it gets into his opponent's head and then leaves them to think, okay, I should play floaty and be ready for these down sigs. The second they start playing floaty, they play into LDZ's bow game, and then you can catch them with nairs and recoveries for kills.
Now, Twilight did take game one, but because this is winners finals, this is a best of five here. So you have to win 3 out of the 5 games. So dropping 1 game out of this, that's not terrible. Even if it was a complete stomping, that's not completely terrible. You still have more chances. You have time to adapt, and that's the biggest thing when you get towards this side of the tournament. Once you reach the upper echelon of play and the ending of a tournament, it's all about time management and being able to adapt to your opponent faster than they can adapt to you.
But LDZ is making it very hard for Twilight to adapt, as he got a side air into a rollout side sig onto Twilight. That was fantastic play. He's going to be holding on, disarms Twilight with that unarmed recovery, but they're both getting close to kill percentage again.
And there's that bow. Even the neutral light sent Twilight off the screen.
Top side air, not enough. And LDZ, he's not known to fish and really try to catch someone with a signature. Instead, he's a little bit more patient, but he stays a little too high, knows that he doesn't have a whole lot of options, and Twilight picks up the side sig to finish off the first stock. He is in that horror movie red. He is getting close to kill percentage, and the downlight side air will do it.
There it was from the middle of the stage, and LDZ, he's not necessarily known for his just brutal kill efficiency, but it's taking him a little while to kill Twilight. It's the same thing with Twilight too. They're really extending their stocks on both sides of the equation. It's hard for both of them to kill one another, and that just goes to show how good both of these players truly are.
Another side sig from Twilight. LDZ, he's looking a little little off the mark right now as Twilight gets another side air. The dare not going to connect. LDZ gets up, gets a recovery in air. He's going to hold on to this stock for a little while, but you've got to believe Twilight's thinking about the side zigs. Yeah.
There it is from the right side of the stage. Really? That killed Koji. I can't believe it.
Koji's low defense, 4 defense, right?
I mean, he has 4, but like Bodvar has 6 force, and that's from the right side of the stage. That's incredible.
I mean, that's just Twilight recognizing. I don't even think he cared if it killed, because Twilight just on the edge, he could have just gone for more Sares, more dares, and then tried to clean it up. You know he loves those side six. They're working out so well against LDZ. LDZ just not expecting it. He's not ready for those Bodvar side six.
Twilight's doing a great job of staying airborne, and LDZ keeps throwing out these side sigs against it. I'd like to see him throw out some down sigs. It does have a somewhat vertical hitbox on it. He's not staying above LDZ, so I don't know if I would go for the bow neutral sig, but I'd like to see a lot of bow down signatures. They did nerf the recovery, and I believe it was cooldown on it, but like you can still use it. It's not a completely unusable move, I think, because Twilight is staying so much in the air that somewhat anti-air hitbox would help.
I think even just like neutralites as the anti-air would help him out. Just throw out the down sig and then follow up with the neutralite. But right now, Twilight is just controlling that center platform. Can't quite get the side air. LDZ will get the wall touch and hold on for a little while, but he's so close to dead right now.
Slowly but surely, possibly bringing it back. Trying to use his fluid movement to get in and get out. Put pressure while also staying safe.
Downlight side air, and Twilight is 2-0 over the US West Regional Qualifier. Twilight is showing real strong. Why he is a god in his own right.
Yeah, this is... I'm not saying this is unexpected, but... Wow, Twilight has really been coming on strong today. I'm not sure... It's interesting that he's doing this well against LDZ. I really don't want to discount Twilight. Please don't believe that I'm dogging on Twilight, thinking that Twilight's bad at all. But LDZ truly is an incredible player. He really is like top 3 in the world, and that's not even a joke at all. He truly is top 3 in the world, arguably one of the best, possibly top 2. Daiku's been coming on strong lately. He's been having a great showing. Outside of the recent 2v2, but we're not going to talk about that. It's that he's going so even and even beating LDZ. That's insane. That's absolutely insane right now.
It is a fantastic sword play from Twilight that is really dismantling LDZ. LDZ's trying to play that bow, trying to catch Twilight, but he's really not registering how Twilight's playing the neutral. He's not really registering the aerial play, punishing with the anti-airs. It's just LDZ trying to figure out exactly what he needs to do, and right now Twilight is he's in control. He's controlling the center stage, and he's controlling the weaponry, as he is the only one with the weapon, and LDZ is waiting for that bow.
And it's interesting because we really haven't seen that much of an edgeguard game. We've seen some offstage play, we've seen some high air play, but it's mostly just been the neutral game back between the two. And I don't know if LDZ is just maybe a little bit worried to go against Twilight's sword on the edge. I don't know if Twilight is a little bit afraid to go against LDZ's bow on the edge. Like, bow ground pound is always a very scary option. Sarah is a great gimping tool. Dare is a great gimping tool. It's just, there isn't a lot of edge guarding going on.
The edge guards have mostly been Twilight, though. He kind of controls the edge guard. If LDZ is on the edge or trying to punish, Twilight just goes immediately back to the neutral. But if Twilight is, or if LDZ is the one on the wall, then Twilight starts going for those dares. You see it right there. He picks up the dare onto LDZ. He'll go for the Sares if LDZ is farther away from the wall. But it's been on Twilight's kind of control to decide whether or not there will be an edge guard.
And right now, it's his control that's just kind of was originally zoning out LDZ from the stage. LDZ was just kind of hovering on the fringe of looking to initiate on Twilight. He was waiting for a sword move to come out. Unarmed into sword is an incredibly difficult matchup statistically. I mean, even emotionally, that's just not something you want to do. And LDZ was just kind of hovering on the periphery of Twilight's sword, waiting until he could go in to get the weapon.
Well, Twilight doesn't have a sword this time. He will be going to the hammer. No weapons are on the board for him, so he's kind of forced to play this hammer out, and you know what? It's working. He gets a nice stomp side air as the weapon spawns. This is the edgeguard opportunity, and immediately Twilight gets back up, goes to safety, and when LDZ is the one in trouble, Twilight will go off the stage to try to edgeguard him.
Another downlight Sair. That's what he's been dominating with so far. Where's the Sair follow-up? I know he's looking for it. There's a dare. I think he was hoping that would send LDZ through the soft platform. Twilight has a significant lead right now.
Oh yeah, LDZ, he's looking at the horror movie. He is gotta be worried right now, as if Twilight picks up a side air at basically any part of the stage, it will be death. That will do it.
There you go. That's exactly what you were talking about. That was a side air from the middle of the stage. He didn't even need a downlight to pop him up, bring him a little bit to the right. That was just a straight falling Sair from the dead center of the stage.
LDZ trying to aggress, and immediately again Twilight goes back to the stage. LDZ, he's got a strong edgeguard game, but if he can't force it onto Twilight, then it's not really going to work out in his favor. He's knocked Twilight off the stage. Twilight has burned a lot, but he's got enough for a dare. Ground pound from LDZ. That will be his edgeguard, and we have evened it up.
I think Twilight, when he went to that corner and dared into it, he immediately went back. I think he expected LDZ to ground pound, like, kind of dead right on the side of that wall. And LDZ just kind of hung back and waited for Twilight to jump off. That was a great patience by LDZ. But you're right. That's one of the very few times that we've actually seen LDZ edgeguard.
It's really been Twilight who's kind of controlling the pacing, controlling where the fights really are gonna happen. He wants that center stage, and if LDZ's not gonna let him have it, he'll wait for his opportunity to get it back. Nice snares from LDZ. He's sticking with this bow play. How do you feel about this bow play against the sword play from Twilight?
I haven't really been feeling it so far. It hasn't been that strong. I mean, he just picked up a recovery, and I guess, like, eventually that'll kill. And
Ooh.
There we go. Finally, we saw some bow airplay from LDZ. That was the only time where he looked very strong with the bow. A lot of times it was one hit here or there, but none of them were game-changing. None of them actually put the fight on his side. None of them actually gave him any momentum until actually those last 3 hits right there. It was the first recovery, then the nair that sent him off screen, and then the follow-up with the recovery. Those were really the only great bow moves that he had. The rest of it was his sword.
But look at the damage. LDZ had to do 600, I think it was like 650 to finish off the 3 stocks of Twilight. There's a lack of kill efficiency from LDZ, and it's in part due to the fact that he can't get those gimps, but also just he hasn't been connecting with any real signatures. He's thrown out a couple bow signatures. You know, he's probably never going to throw out a sword down sig ever again in his life, but for the most part, he hasn't been getting those kill moves.
And that's been an issue of, like, that's an average of 215, 220 damage per stock. That's quite a lot.
Nice ground pound, though.
Now we're seeing those edge guards come alive from LDZ. The last time he did it, we saw a kill on Twilight. We just saw it now, put Twilight in a pretty rough position, and put LDZ a little bit ahead of him in terms of health.
There's a nice side sig to send Twilight off the stage. You know he's thinking about the ground pound or the Sair. There's the Sair. Twilight running out of options, but he gets to the wall.
I think he went to do a bow ground pound there. I'm not sure. It looked like he popped off the ground just a little bit. Only enough to hopefully start the ground pound so he could ground pound through the platform. But I think he fast-falled just a little bit and went back on the platform.
That's unfortunate, but he didn't take too much damage for missing that ground pound opportunity. He gets the kill. I believe that was with a nair. But Twilight's he's coming back. He's got the hammer, and if he can get a stomp, it's going to be a kill move onto LDZ. Stomp. Ooh, went for the side sig.
Just didn't have the spacing there for the side sig or the timing on it. But a nice dare is going to finish up that stock from LDZ. This game's still extremely, extremely even though Twilight is up 2-1 in this best of 5 for the upper finals.
We're back to their standard weapons. LDZ loving this bow against Twilight's swordplay.
We're seeing Twilight actually use a lot of side lights here. I'd say more than he's normally done. And I think some of that could be... Does he get the gimp here?
That's death! LDZ, He's suddenly turning on the Gimp button. He's flipped the switch and he's like, all right, now I can pick up those Gimps, as he gets a great side air Gimp onto Twilight, the person who kind of pioneered side air Gimps.
There's a big recovery from Twilight. There's another recovery. He's
And
looking to
LDZ's
go
dead.
down below LDZ again. And LDZ is dead just like that. LDZ had a full stock lead on Twilight, and Twilight made it look like absolutely nothing.
I mean, this is a game of Gimps, to say the least. LDZ is even. He's got no weapon. Twilight is going to be clearing it. He's going to keep the swords in hand. Twilight, he just wants to keep LDZ off of any sort of weapon.
I can't believe that the Twilight just hammer gimped LDZ in yellow.
Two recoveries.
Yellow.
That's all he needed. 2 recoveries.
LDZ is looking to
LDZ
edge guard
wants
again.
it.
He was looking for
He
that
saw
ground
him.
pound. He was a little bit lower. That might have killed. Twilight is starting to get into orange here. LDZ is in orange. This game is so dead even when Twilight was a stock behind.
But you gotta believe Twilight's gonna go for a more neutral-centric kind of game. Not really give LDZ any opportunities for Gimps. He's gonna stay up, not kind of over-aggress, and give LDZ an opportunity for the ground pound. And it's working out, as he's knocked LDZ into the red. LDZ gets up, though.
LDZ's just been looking a little bit confused whenever he gets really high in the air. He's mostly been playing the game on the ground or at one jump height, and what?
Look at the damage. Look at the damage. That is a 2 damage difference between the players. Gimps on either side. 472 to 474. LDZ has been taken down. He's going into the lower bracket to fight Pugsy, I believe.
I don't want to say that I wanted LDZ to lose, because I love LDZ, but now I get to watch more LDZ games, so I'm a little bit happy that LDZ lost. But congratulations to Twilight. I mean, nothing has been won by any means, but congratulations to Twilight for playing so incredibly strong today. He was able to completely adapt to the Crocky fight earlier. He was able to slow everything down, and then now he was able to bring it back, get back to his old self, and space out, beat out in the air game, beat out in the neutral game, beat out in the edge guard game, one of the best players on the planet.
And he's going to be going into the grand finals. We are going to be seeing the lower bracket finals now. It is going to be LDZ and Pugsy. Pugsy, we saw him play the Sentinel. We saw him mix it up to the Lucian at one point. Do you think he's going... Oh, he's locking in the Bodvar. He's going big. No more awkwardness. No more Qatar play. It's just standard Pugsy Bodvar.
I would have thought we would have seen Lucian or Bodvar. I don't think he's going to play Sentinel again at all.
Really?
Even if he beats LDZ and moves on, he's had so much trouble with Sentinel towards the end that I just don't even think he's going to mess with it at this point.
Well, he looks like he's not messing around. He's going to be going with the Bodvar. This is kind of Pugsy's standard pick when he's really in it to win it. He goes for the Bodvar. He's got incredible sword play. We've seen his hammer play. It's not as Sig-centric as with the Sentinel, but you know, it's just generally a strong character for Pugsy.
And he is already starting to go into this sword v sword play against LDZ. I'm sure he just saw the sword play that LDZ put out against Twilight, and he's definitely looking very aggressive right now against LDZ. We're definitely going to see edge guards out of Pugsy. I don't know if we're going to see him out of LDZ, though.
I think he's got to be thinking about it. Pugsy with a great gravity cancel neutral light. I think LDZ was going for that standard speed dodge into the ground pound. Nice down sig, barely clipping over the edge to finish off that stock of LDZ. And LDZ, he needs those gimps. That's one of the things that he's known for, one of his strongest tools in his kit. And if he can't get those gimps, he seems to struggle a little bit in this neutral.
We haven't actually seen Pugsy spend a lot of time on the wall. He's had a lot of control, so those gimps that LDZ's been needing, he hasn't even really had the opportunity for them against this Pugsy.
LDZ wasn't able to get the gimp. Instead, just wanted more damage out onto Pugsy. That's the first neutral sig I think we've seen out of LDZ this entire tournament.
I think we've seen either maybe one or two. I know we've at least seen one. I feel like we've seen one more. I think one missed and one of them might have dropped.
I know we've seen a couple down sigs. So we'll see. LDZ gets a sidelight, wants a speed dodge weapon throw. Pugsy is so deep in the red. Clashes out, still not able to get killed. At this point, I think LDZ could kill with a neutral light.
And he went for a down light though.
Oh!
Perfect angle, Pugsy! Oh my gosh! Pugsy still hasn't died yet. Finally, the side air from on stage is gonna kill, but Pugsy has a very healthy stock right now.
What in the world was that? Downlight dare, gets a side air into the bounce past the mine, takes down LDZ. Pugsy looking real strong, full stock up over LDZ.
And this sword play from Pugsy has just been very strong today. He hasn't had to slow the game down. It looks like LDZ is the one who's maybe trying to take a break, take a breather, slow everything down.
But he's sticking with his bow play. You saw him go for that gimp. He's got strong edge guard potential with that bow. Nice side sig to punish the neutral sig from Pugsy. But if the opponent doesn't really give him any opportunities for that bow play, that ground pound, the Sares, anything like that, it seems like LDZ doesn't know what to do. Nice side air. Done.
That was Pugsy just two-stocked LDZ.
Done.
Creed said it in chat that you were witnessing the fall of a king. If this set is going to go anything like last set or what we just saw, that truly could be the case here. Pugsy is immediately locking in this Bodvar. LDZ might be taking a chance to think.
He needs a break. He literally just posted in in-game chat, would you mind if I take a break for a little bit? I don't know what's going on LDZ's side, but if there's connection issues or something in the real world, like his little sister's like slapping him in the back of the head or something, he's gonna have to shake it off, lock the little sister out of the room, and figure out an answer to the Bodvar, because the Bodvar is really dismantling him right now.
It's been the sword play. It was the same thing with Twilight. The sword play was able to just completely wreak havoc on LDZ. We did see the Gimp with the hammer, but aside from that, we didn't see much of Twilight's hammer that game. But the sword play from Twilight, the sword play from Pugsy, today it looks like LDZ's sword play isn't up to snuff.
I don't know if he thinks that the bow is the answer. He goes to the bow a lot of times. It's kind of been only bow centric. I don't know if he has a decent sword. He had a couple downlights. We saw him go, I believe he got the recovery nair in one of his matches for a Gimp in the sky. I don't know if he just thinks that the bow is the answer, or if maybe he's trying to prove a point and say that bow's weak. Maybe that's what he's saying. He's like, hey guys, buff bow because I'm losing with it, right? Like I
don't know. Whatever has happened to him, it seems like he's just all of a sudden hit a brick wall. If you look at his just trip through the bracket, his first match, 2-0. Next match, 2-0. His match against Burnt Pan, 2-0. His match against Blood Diamond, 2-0. His match against Pugsy, who he's playing now again, who he just lost to, 2-0. And then all of a sudden with this Twilight match, boom. There's the brick wall. He is 3-1. Sorry, 1-3 against Twilight. And now he's 0-1 against Pugsy.
Hopefully he's going to find a wrecking ball to get through these brick walls, because it's going to be a tough climb. Here it is, game 2, LDZ versus Pugsy. Pugsy ended up 2-0ing LDZ in game 1. And we're seeing LDZ, he's playing a little bit more sword-centric. Maybe he's kind of registered. Maybe sword's okay. Maybe it's not the worst thing in the world.
We'll see if this breather for LDZ has been able to recharge his batteries, refresh his state of mind, and maybe give him something to put a wrench in the works of Pugsy's insane swordplay today.
Oh, we're seeing LDZ's swordplay come out as he gets a nice double downlight into a recovery. Pugsy not able to do one of his own. Instead, he just gets one downlight into a Sair and another downlight into a Sair on the other side of the map. Pugsy's been able to trade out more efficiently, adding up quite a bit of damage, and the Nair finishes off LDZ in the sky.
Some nice Nair juggling from Pugsy. Continued aggression even when LDZ was off screen. That's what you get from Pugsy whenever you're in a game with Pugsy. There's nowhere on the map that he will not go to chase you down to confirm that kill.
LDZ wants some aggression of his own. Pugsy gets a ground pound onto LDZ, not able to pick up the neutral light to follow up. But he's just putting pressure out onto LDZ. I'd like to see LDZ actually go back to the sword. He had a little bit more success. Nice side air to punish the neutral sig. And the neutral sig from LDZ to catch Pugsy while stacked. But he's already taken quite a bit of damage from the sword play from Pugsy.
And here he is with this bow again. This has been apparently what he's been very confident that he can win with so far, even though he's had somewhat lackluster experiences with it against Twilight and now against Pugsy.
I mean, the standout play from his bow has been the edge guards. In the neutral, hasn't been too fantastic. I'd like to see him kind of go for either build up damage with the sword, finish off with the bow, or survive the down light into the side air for right now. He'll survive. He got the wall touch. And the recovery finishes it off. But like I was saying, I'd like to see the sword for the damage build up, and then the bow for the kills. Or if he's going to go for the bow, just try for 1 or 2 gimps, and then when or if it doesn't work, switch it up.
I would really prefer him just stick to sword, because if you're going to try and kill with bow recovery, you could have probably killed with sword nairs. You probably had an option to chase high into the sky and maybe even go for an off-screen gravity cancel neutral sig on the sword. Things like that. I just think the way LDZ is playing bow today, he needs to stick to sword.
He's been able to add up a little bit of damage onto Pugsy with this bow. Picks up a recovery, not enough to kill. He's sticking with the bow. Gets another recovery. That will finish it off. And he's not in the worst of shape. He's getting a little bit into the orange, but Pugsy, there's no weapon for him. So if LDZ can push this bow play onto Pugsy, he might have a chance. Pugsy is on the wall. LDZ gets a nice sidelight, but can't get the speed dodge there to follow up.
Now Pugsy has that hammer. Oh, did that mine just
despawn
disappear?
Just as he was getting there.
That was incredibly lucky for LDZ after that hammer say.
Ooh, the clash again. Pugsy ends up winning out with that side air. Was in position, but couldn't quite get the hit as LDZ with some great recoveries gets back down to the ground. And we're even in health.
Pugsy's looking for those kill moves now. He's
Nice!
looking for those stairs. He's looking for those stairs. That gravity cancel side signature. Not going to kill, though. Looking to follow it up. LDZ going onto the stage. Going back.
Too deep. Plants the flag. Pugsy is up 2-0 over LDZ. The bow play, we saw some glimmering. It was starting to work out, but at the same time, just those big hits, the big side air, the nice gravity cancel side sigs from Pugsy, just working out a little bit better.
I don't know what's going on with LDZ today, but Pugsy been coming out strong so far. He is ready to go. He is not going to rest. He is ready. I don't know how much sleep he had last night. I know he was up pretty late, but he is ready to go. He wants to take out LDZ here and now. He's already 2-0 in this best of 5. A win right here will send LDZ packing.
Pugsy's looking to get it. They are staying on the wall. This is... I know I say LDZ's got fantastic edgeguard play, especially with this bow, but it's up against the hammer. We saw what happens when he gets caught by the recoveries. There is high potential for those hammer recovery gimps to answer back, but LDZ, he sends Pugsy off the stage again. Nice side airs. Staying horizontal against the hammer will give him the first stop.
The interesting thing, though, is earlier we were seeing LDZ edgeguard against hammer and have no problem with it. He wasn't having any problem coming in from above it, from the side of it, and from below it, and beating out the recovery, beating out the ground pound hitboxes by coming in at strange angles to where the hitboxes wouldn't reach.
Maybe he was a little bit shaken by the double recoveries, but now suddenly it's the same thing we saw in the upper bracket where he's like, oh, now I guess I should, now that I'm 1 game away from getting knocked out, I should probably start going for more gives. Gets a great ground pound on top of Pugsy, is going to be clearing the board, and Pugsy's looking to get 3-0'd right now. Just kidding.
There's a nice down light neutral sig. But, I mean, LDZ does have a lead here, but last time we saw LDZ have this much of a lead, we saw Twilight get an incredible yellow health hammer gimp on the side.
Ooh, LDZ held it real long, but Pugsy was not able to punish it. LDZ just goes straight back to the wall, gets his jumps back up, and he's going to be back to the neutral. And we're seeing LDZ, starting to remember how to play Bo aggressively, starting to remember how he wants to push those side airs, push those down airs, and push those ground pounds. Pugsy is dead.
Now, that's one of probably the first of a handful of times that we've really seen him edgeguard. And he stayed down there. He spent time down there. He was moving. That was the flow that we've come to know from LDZ. Moving in and out, up, down, in and around, avoiding the damage, putting out damage of his own, and ending up getting the kill. And now we're actually seeing Pugsy switch to Sentinel.
Sentinel? This is an interesting pick in the sense that his swordplay on Bodvar was fantastic. It was one of the reasons why he's currently 2-1, excuse me, over LDZ. But he's going to be keeping that hammer theme. He's going to have a lot more signatures in mind. And at bare minimum, it will be a character mix-up. But last time he played Sentinel against LDZ, he got taken down 0-2.
And I wonder, it's maybe something's different this time.
Gravity cancel neutral?
He's doing some work with that hammer, but see, now LDZ is edgeguarding with the
pound.
hammer again, and he's getting
done.
around the hitboxes.
Oh, no! He has plenty of jumps. I guess he got a wall touch somewhere in there. I didn't see it. But LDZ with great bow play. He had so much potential for a kill on the Pugsy.
I love that he waited for the perfect timing on that ground pound. That ground pound just barely came out when he started to queue up that bow ground pound. Perfect timing from LDZ.
But he needs to finish off the stock. The side sig will do it. He has been knocked into the orange, but he's got this bow, and the bow we've seen the gimps come out. Pugsy is back on the hammer, and he's starting to fish for those signatures, fish for the side sigs, fish for the neutral sigs, and LDZ's just having none of it.
And so far, LDZ's been able to get around it. The signatures have either missed or they've missed, and LDZ has punished. We already saw him punish with a nair. Now we just saw him punish with a sair. There's finally a signature hitting.
Just more side sigs coming out from Pugsy, and they're really not working. He got one out of the last like 8 side sigs he threw out, and LDZ gets a side air to finish off that second stock. LDZ once again looking to get the 3 stock. Pugsy just needs, he just needs a signature, finish off this stock.
This is exactly why when you asked me if I think Pugsy should play Sentinel against LDZ, this is why I said no. This is exactly why, because he's throwing out all of these signatures, and LDZ is not getting hit by them, so it's either a zero-sum game or Pugsy's losing because of the punishes.
LDZ is keeping the juggle going. Pugsy, he's so desperate to get this kill right now that he's fishing so hard for it. Great recovery though, will punish the gimp attempt from LDZ, but he's so far behind right now that LDZ wants to get the unarmed kill onto Pugsy.
That was a nice reaction on the hammer recovery there from Pugsy, but LDZ was so close after that bow to getting the hit with the down air. That probably would have spelled death for Pugsy, and that would have been such an incredible gimp. He was just a mere few frames from that down air continuing and hitting him.
The side airs. Pugsy committed hard, and that will be death. Couldn't get the ground pound onto LDZ, and that is going to be game 4, I guess, going the way to LDZ. We are now at 2-2, and it is literally one game for either of them.
All right, so LDZ played Pugsy before, beat him with a 2-0. Now Pugsy's fighting LDZ again, and Pugsy was looking at a hot 3-0. He came in with the 2-0, and then all of a sudden, LDZ has just made a complete 180, a complete turnaround. He's found the fire, and he's completely fired up, ready to go. He just 2-stock Pugsy twice.
We're seeing a different bow come out of LDZ. It's seriously been a complete 180 on his bow play. The first 2 games is kind of slow, a little bit neutral. He kind of started to get ground poundy and edge guardy, but it really wasn't successful. And then suddenly game 3, LDZ's just pushing sairs, pushing dares all over the place and knocking his opponents around.
He's edge guarding. That's definitely a huge piece of this as well, is he's actually edge guarding now more than just right over the corner. He is going deep. He is pushing hitboxes further and further down, bringing on pressure, It doesn't matter if there's a hammer, it doesn't matter if there's a sword in his way. He is going onto both of those weapons, edge guarding them equally, and that's one of the reasons also that he's winning right now.
3, 2, 1, brawl!
Here we go. This is game 5, lower final. Winner of this goes on to fight Twilight, try to get the reset, and win 2 best of 5s. They've got to get through each other right now. Pugsy has the hammer in hand. I'd like to see him switch to the sword. Yep, that is going to be the sword switch, and he gets a nice neutral light onto LDZ. Second neutral light.
Maybe it was just somewhat of Mammoth Fortress that LDZ was having trouble with, because we just saw him dominate on Twilight Grove when he lost on Mammoth earlier to Twilight, and he lost on Mammoth earlier to Pugsy. There's so many variables going on that have just led to a different LDZ.
What's interesting is that usually the argument for why someone wouldn't like Mammoth is that soft platform. I haven't seen a whole lot of interrupts or anything of that sort from that soft platform onto LDZ. At best, you know, we saw that one ground pound that ended up being a down sig. But other than that, I don't think the usual reasoning behind Mammoth being an issue is holding LDZ back right now.
Now we're seeing Pugsy not being the one to edge guard here. There is that extended wall there. There's a solid amount of wall. There's time to edge guard. There's time to recover. There's time to get back. And we're seeing LDZ. Is he going to go in? He goes pretty deep. But Pugsy just isn't even going to try it.
He knows he is so close to dead that a one tap, a down air from LDZ could finish him up. He's staying on the wall. If LDZ overcommits, could get recovered. They're both one move away from death. Pugsy throws the hammer out. Ground pound opportunity. Not going to connect. LDZ gets back up. And Pugsy now has no weapon. But LDZ couldn't get the recovery onto him.
LDZ was so smart not to burn his dodge there. He didn't try to dodge through the weapon toss and then worry about the ground pound later. He just avoided the weapon toss completely and then kept his dodge in case he needed it.
The mine didn't kill! Upsetting for Pugsy that he couldn't get that mine kill. Great patience from LDZ. Nice side air to finish it off. Stocks and health basically even. No weapons. There's the weapon. Pugsy's going to be switching to the sword. LDZ is going to be going unarmed onto the sword. And it's working out. Sort of.
There's a weapon. He picks that up in the air. It's going to be a sword mirror match here. He's not even worried about the spike ball. Is he going to try and get that bow?
He's not even thinking about it. Dodges down. Doesn't follow off the downlight, but ends up getting more damage out of it. Now he's got the bow. Now he's got the edge guard opportunity, but Pugsy gets back as LDZ just stayed a little bit too high, but he picks up the side sig, and he's got a full stock advantage.
There's a nice signature. We haven't seen a lot of signatures from LDZ so far. He was throwing a lot out earlier that were just kind of flowing in and meshing in with the way he was playing. But I think he's so worried about punishes now that he just doesn't want to throw out signatures.
I think he's just being a little bit more safe with his signatures. Doesn't want to make a mistake and overcommit onto a signature and get punished, like you were saying. Pugsy, we just saw him throw out a side sig, get punished by LDZ. But Pugsy, he needs this kill right here. He needs this kill. Oh, the down air.
He has a dodge.
He got the wall touch. Ground pound.
Fantastic
Pugsy,
read from LDZ.
Side air. Pugsy got to the wall. He is so dangerously close, though.
And when LDZ bonked his head under, Pugsy couldn't capitalize on that because Pugsy's so red on his last stock and LDZ still has 2 stocks. I'm sure that moment hurt for Pugsy, just having to watch that and be like, I should be able to aggress right here. I should be able to take this stock, but it's too much of a risk.
Dangerous spot, though. Nice side air. LDZ not dead. Pugsy, he has to be careful. He cannot over-aggress. Like you were saying, oh, dodges in the neutral sig. Hits stacked. LDZ takes it in the lower finals. We'll be going back to try to get the reset, the run back onto Twilight.
LDZ just got the reverse 3 set against Pugsy. The salty run back coming into grand finals against Twilight. I can't believe that. How many signatures did we see from LDZ that entire set? Was it really 2? I think it was those last 2. Both of those he hit with, both of those he killed with, the side signature and the stacked neutral signature.
I think we saw a couple more earlier on in this set, but when he started making the comeback, he really wasn't throwing out signatures. A lot of it was just bow edge game. A lot of Sayers, a lot of dares, and then those big ground pounds.
I wonder if it's going to be the same thing against Twilight. I wonder if he's going to edge guard and be aggressive on the edge, be aggressive in the lower offstage play against Twilight when he wasn't earlier.
It's where he had the most success. If he goes for that edge guard play, that aggressive play, it could work out for him. Twilight, though, has a really strong edge guard. You've got to be careful, got to respect those dares. But I think that's where LDZ will have the most success, especially if he wants to be playing that bow.
I mean, maybe he's confident in them now, because at first he wasn't doing it to Pugsy really that much either. But then he started slowly doing it. He would slowly go a little bit deeper on the edge. He would go a little bit deeper. He'd spend a little bit more time there. And then finally, it looked like he was completely comfortable there, that's what we're used to seeing from him.
What's funny is it seems like he's still warming up in the finals of this tournament. He's still warming up in the winners finals, still warming up in the lowers finals. Hopefully, as we get into this grand finals, he's warm. Hopefully, he's ready to just go.
We're already seeing Twilight lock in the boat VAR. I think LDZ is doing whatever he did in that short break before. I don't know if that's making sure all his Ethernet cables are plugged in. I don't know if that's just sitting there quietly meditating. Maybe that's going in his bathroom saying Candyman 5 times. Maybe it's I don't know. Whatever he's doing, it has absolutely worked, and he should keep doing it.
I think whatever it was, whatever dance he had to do, whatever mental reprieve he needed, it is definitely working. I think they're trying to figure out the bans right now. But we are going to be going into it in just a little bit, and I'd like to see LDZ not pick the Mammoth, even though that's the obvious pick here.
I expect it's fully going to be Mammoth.
I'd like to see him go for Shipwreck. I really think he'd have a strong showing on Shipwreck, but it looks like we are going to be going into Mammoth. It is going to be game 1 of the grand finals. It's going to be LDZ versus Twilight.
If he was on Shipwreck, I would like to see a lot of the edge guarding that he's been doing. I wouldn't like to see him trying to kill off the top, because that gigantic kill box off the top, it just, you really have to put a ton of damage off of somebody, or they have to be really, really high in the air before you can kill them off the top. And with the physical level that LDZ has been playing at, he's mostly staying 1 to sometimes 2 jumps off of the stage. But with Shipwreck, if he stressed the edge game with that small edge, then I would like to see him really do the edge guards. Otherwise, I think Mammoth is the best way to go.
That's what I was kind of thinking about. I'd like to see him push that bow edge guard game, but we're seeing him actually kind of stick to this sword, try to win out in the sword and mirror. So far, they've been trading back and forth, but Twilight, he remembers the consistency he had with those side sigs to outspace LDZ and catch him with a side sig for the first stock.
LDZ, I think he's used those side signatures now to kill, I think, a total of 3 times onto LDZ. He's just been timing it so well that he's been watching LDZ's jumps, and the second that LDZ comes into his range, he knows the timing and he throws it out.
LDZ, though, you're seeing him kind of struggle to finish off this stock of Twilight. He threw out the down sig, but Twilight was still invulnerable just outside of it. LDZ, he's going to get 1 Sair, but once again, if he can't get the Gimps, he kind of struggles to get kills.
And it still seems like he's a little bit afraid to edgeguard on Twilight. I don't know if it's because Twilight is staying relatively high on that side wall, so LDZ is just waiting for him to kind of peek over, and then he's going to throw out a move, but if that's the case, then Twilight is 100% mind gaming him there and playing that the best way he possibly could.
LDZ, he is able to finally pick up that side air. Recognizes that Twilight really doesn't have a whole lot of options in that particular situation, and is able to pick up that side air to finish off the stock. But Twilight, he's kind of just controlling the pace of this game once again. Got the sword.
It's a very solid lead. Twilight looks, I don't want to say confidently ahead, because against LDZ, something can change in any second, but Twilight was, he had a solid lead. It was a comparison of white to orange on the second stock, but LDZ with that neutral sig, he's brought it back almost dead even.
Actually he's taken the lead as he's knocked Twilight into the red. He's got Twilight on the edge. Twilight, once again, running out of options, and that's where LDZ is able to control it and get the side airs to finish off this stock. That is going to be the second kill going the way of LDZ.
And with this control, LDZ, it doesn't seem like he cared too much about having weapon advantage control, because he didn't try to weapon starve. He didn't necessarily try to aggress too quickly after he spawned, but he has airspace control right now for sure.
He's got the juggles. Twilight gets the down air. He's looking for the side sig. He remembered, but it was not able to connect. LDZ, he's got to respect the hammer. He remembers that Twilight can get those hammer gimps. If LDZ makes a mistake, you know Twilight's thinking about the recovery. You know he's thinking about it. There's one. It doesn't connect.
And I think LDZ was just waiting for the recovery. He was kind of staying a little bit above Twilight. Not necessarily enough to put him in danger of getting hit by the hammer recovery, but close enough to respond with a bow ground pound if he needed it. Because Twilight is very red right now.
Ooh.
And...
Oh, no.
Twilight...
Did he just kill himself by taunting?
Twilight making the biggest fool of himself.
I don't have words.
I don't either.
I really don't. LDZ gets the win in that one. Twilight goes down, but now that we're in, I believe this is game 3, Twilight had the weapon control. But we've got bow versus sword again.
I think Twilight, I mean, what, how do you even, that's personally, that's embarrassing. I mean, chances are he probably would have lost, but I mean, you really never know. He's been able to turn things around very quickly before. That's just a strange misstep that you're gonna make in the finals of this.
If getting that gravity cancel taunt is enough that it's gonna fire you up more, it's gonna give you that morale boost, give you a smile on your face, I guess it's worth it. But LDZ is gonna take the first stock off of this game 3.
And there, Twilight, or LEZ is actually gonna finally strip the field. There's just a bomb. He's gonna, I guess, use that as a trap. Not really worried too much about the bomb. He's still sticking with this bow. He's been doing more work with it. Following up for the edge guard there. Twilight coming in with a recovery. There is another recovery.
Gotta worry about the third one. Oh, not able to pick up that recovery. LDZ is gonna survive. We're seeing him switch it up. He's got the sword to try to answer back to Twilight, but Twilight might have the sword mirror. I think LDZ doesn't want to play sword against Twilight's sword, whereas Twilight wants to.
And LDZ's been actually really good. I don't know if you just noticed the sword weapon throw. He's been doing the downlight stare into the weapon throw so much.
Ooh.
Very close.
Was that supposed to be a dare?
Maybe. I don't know if he was hoping that his fist would touch the wall and the fist bump would reset his jumps. I'm not sure. I think a dare probably would have sent him too low.
Okay. Regardless, he ends up falling down. He comes back, gets a nice downlight side air to take off the stock from Twilight. Meanwhile, Twilight didn't really take the stock opportunity to clear the board. He was just kind of doing ground pounds and recoveries on the right side. He comes back, he's got the unarmed, and he's gotten 2 ground pounds on the LDZ, but he is a stock behind.
With that stock behind. Yeah, I mean, he's behind in the health now. Now he's getting juggled into the air. And what is he doing? He's going for those ground pounds into the gravity cancel neutral sig? What is
he tilted? Has he tilted himself?
I don't know. I don't actually know what is happening right now. Twilight looking so strong coming into this set. LDZ coming from the lower bracket after already losing to Twilight. Then Twilight gimps himself with a taunt and then just goes after that. Just does that. I mean, he was a significant amount behind. I think he might be tilted right now.
Well, here we are. This is actually game 3. Twilight, we're seeing him start to play a little bit more paced. He's trying to slow it down now. But LDZ is not going to give him really any room to breathe as he gets a nice side sig and the side air follow-up. And I don't know if Twilight is just furthering that hole that he has dug, but this is looking troublesome as LDZ is looking for the reset and wants to win it out in the grand finals.
There are moments where it looks like Twilight is just like,
Nice
I'm
recovery.
done. I'm totally done with this. I don't care anymore. But then there are moments like this where he's absolutely has a chance to bring it back. Like we saw him do it earlier. We saw his offstage hammer play earlier, easily turn it around with just 3 hammer recoveries, and that was it. That's all it took.
We're seeing this is a more paced Twilight. This is something we saw a little bit earlier with the Crocky. Baits LDZ down, picks up the recovery, gives a salute, and he makes sure it's on the stage where you cannot fall. That's called adapting, people. That's how you learn from your mistakes.
I can't believe LDZ stayed in hammer recovery range for so long that low. Like, I actually can't believe that. He was in there for a solid second and a half. And, like, you had to think that he would know it was coming at any moment.
I mean, he had to have had a Gimp in mind. Gets a nice down air to finish off that stock from Twilight. Gonna be clearing the board, but there's still a weapon as Twilight has the hammer. And are we gonna see him go to the edge? Gonna have to build up a little bit more damage before he can start thinking about that recovery. But he is putting his back to the edge.
Is Twilight trying to rush a Mafia?
It
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what he's trying to
think
do because LDZ just got the bracket reset.
That was a quick and clean bracket reset, and we're going straight back into it. It looks like the map pick is Mammoth all day, every day. This is a 24/7 Mammoth server because Twilight just goes straight back into Mammoth. And here we are. This is after the reset. It is going to be game 1. LDZ has to win a best of 5 set. Twilight has to win a best of 5 set in order to win it out in this grand finals.
I can't believe what's happening today. Just the change that LDZ has had, and then the change in Twilight that has just happened in the past few games alone is just completely mesmerizing.
We're seeing LDZ, he's coming more alive. As the set progresses, as time progresses, he's just going more and more in. He gets the Sair, Twilight's dead, and LDZ is looking so incredibly strong right now. But there's just too many weapons. He cannot clear all of them.
And it's weird to see LDZ make that just shift into, I'm not going to edge guard at all. Okay, I'm going to edge guard a little bit. Okay, I'm going to edge guard a lot. I'm going to initiate my edge guards on stage. I'm going to start a combo on stage, throw a weapon, and then I'm going to follow up myself after the weapon, and then I'm going to go very, very deep on you. And it's just insane to see that transition that LDZ has and have that really lead to his victory.
It's just kind of been that ramp up. Twilight saluted. LDZ's not dead. That will give the kill. And this time, once again, he is going to salute. And I want to point out that he's doing it on stage.
Twilight is doing a pretty good job adapting to this change from LDZ. I mean, he did just lose the 3-0 set, but he's doing a better job now. He isn't too far behind. He's looking to do damage onto LDZ. LDZ's starting to get into the orange. Meanwhile, Twilight is red. That's the first signature in a while that we've seen LDZ miss.
And Twilight got a punish off of it. I think that's specifically why Twilight or why LDZ really hasn't been throwing out a whole lot of signatures. He waits for the punish opportunity. Unfortunately, he missed the punish, but it's specifically he doesn't want to get counter punished. Nice neutral sig to pick up onto Twilight. He's got the stock advantage, but he did lose a lot of the health advantage in just a second ago.
A clash right there. Those clashes, it's just that halts LDZ from doing anything more. But when you're behind, a clash is basically like you're losing. You are still losing. You might be narrowing that gap a little bit if you're like a Queen Nai or something like that. But for right now, that's Twilight losing those clashes.
I mean, he can't afford to trade essentially, even though he's got the defense advantage. Trades like that end up working out in LDZ's favor as he gets a downlight into a nair. He just saved Twilight because he's not done killing him. He's not done. He's not done. But Twilight gets up. He's got the weapon. There's a mine. It's gonna land down.
That was so clean from LDZ. Those tech chases all the way. He's been doing so good with those really, really far off stage ground pounds, like past the push-off column, because he's been expecting Twilight to go there every time. That's usually where players will go. They anticipate either the on-wall or the push-off column. But LDZ has been doing such a great job. He's hit Twilight with that more than a few times. And LDZ, his flow, his movement, everything he does, it's like water.
He's really... Like, I know we were complimenting it earlier. There was a while there in the upper finals, the lower finals, where it was a little awkward. It wasn't as smooth of gameplay. We weren't seeing the LDZ that we really know he can bring out. But now that we're in the grand finals, he's found that pace, he's found that flow, and there is a torrent that is coming down onto Twilight right now. Ground pound.
And there's another one.
There.
Far past the
Needs a little bit more.
He immediately follows up with it. He doesn't wait. He doesn't delay it with a jump into the ground pound where it's readable. He just immediately runs off stage and straight does it.
It takes advantage of the way that the bow ground pound works. It's got a pretty stacked hitbox. So if you hit that ground pound stacked, it turns into a rest and it sends your opponent flying. If LDZ can just position himself to be stacked on his opponent, then the ground pound will connect as he gets a big juggle onto Twilight, send him into the sky, but Twilight gets back down safely.
Can we talk about how that was almost a clean stock? Like, that was almost a legitimate clean stock that LDZ
it was pretty.
took on Twilight. And there's another bow ground pound.
Ground
He's
pound?
been so quick with those. He can legitimately get a 3 stock here.
He is in the orange. He's not going to get caught.
This isn't like, oh, 3 stock dreams when someone's
in the
deep red and someone's coming in fresh on their last stock. There is a legitimate 3
LDZ
stock here.
Got the 3 stock in game 2 in the grand finals. After the reset, we're going back in.
I know people in chat are surprised that I think LDZ is so good and that I've been talking about how great LDZ is. That's because LDZ is an incredible player. Look at what just happened. He just 3-stocked Twilight in grand finals of this BCS in a 1v1.
LDZ is looking real strong. Twilight, this is the first time since the reset that he's had the health advantage over LDZ. Got the weapon control, the spike ball interrupting that weapon control for a little bit as LDZ picked that up, or sorry, Twilight picked that up. But LDZ has yet to pick up a weapon and Twilight's taking full advantage of it.
Here's that bow. If Twilight goes off stage, he knows he's in trouble. He's been so consistent with these bow ground pounds, with these bow edge guards, with this offstage bow play.
Where do you position against this bow? Off stage, LDZ's commanding it. He's got the Sairs, he's got the dares, he's got the ground pounds. In the air, he's commanding it with the nairs and the recoveries. Where do you position against this bow?
I was about to say maybe you go really, really high in the air, but you saw him almost completely nair juggle Twilight. But the answer to your question, nowhere. You're nowhere is safe.
You are dead if LDZ's got a bow. But Twilight, he had an answer earlier on in the tournament. A nice downlight Sair. He's positioning. Can't quite get the ground pound. LDZ tries to turn it around. That bow toss.
Are you kidding me?
That bow toss was beautiful.
LDZ was looking for that the entire time. That's why you saw him jump forward, wait a little bit, kind of look back, jump forward, wait a little bit, look back, jump forward. You saw him looking for that opportunity every single jump that he made.
Somebody take a picture of that bow toss and frame it, because that was gorgeous. LDZ ground pounding, not able to finish it off.
Don't get a cheapo like Walmart imitation wood frame. You go to like a painting store and you get them to custom make a frame for that.
LDZ's done it. That is
that
3.
That is literally it right there. Are you kidding me?
Cleaned it up. I don't know if it was Twilight tilting himself after he died, holding a taunt, but LDZ just was on fire throughout the entire grand finals. He has done it. He made the strongest run through the upper bracket, meets the wall that is Twilight, goes down to the lower bracket, and gets a reverse 3 games against Pugsy, goes into the grand finals, and basically 6-0s Twilight.
I mean, we've seen people flip the switch before. We've seen Egg flip the switch before when he's down and he needs the gimp of a lifetime. We saw it in the US East Regional Qualifier. I call him Big Match Egg. But I don't think we've ever seen anybody quite flip the switch as hard as that. It was 2 minutes. He asked for a break that was more than 5 minutes, but he took 2 minutes and then he came back, and that was a completely different LDZ. That was a complete 180-degree turnaround where he was in control almost all the time. Any lead that Twilight got, it almost seemed like LDZ was letting him have that. Everything was in his hands. Everything was according to LDZ's plan.
Absolutely fantastic play from LDZ. Strong showing from Twilight. He was looking real strong. Able to get the win in the upper bracket finals, goes into the grand finals and gets taken down by LDZ, but great job from him to get second place. Pugsy is going to be the third place placer, and everyone else, you can check it out on the challenge bracket.
This was an incredible tournament today. The ending was spectacular enough on its own, even without everything else we saw today. Definitely check out the VOD. If you are going to BCX and you are going to compete, you better be watching these VODs. You better be paying attention. You better have a notebook full of notes on LDZ, on Twilight, on all of these players. You have the resources, and you better be looking at them, because, I mean, BCX is 5 weeks around the corner. It is like that. Snap of the fingers, it's going to be here. That's when the best players in the world are going to fight for that $50,000 prize pool. I want to say thank you to everybody out there who is watching today. You're all wonderful. Thank you very much to everybody behind the scenes making this happen. White Sheepy, Cassidy, Zenigan, Sticky Soul, my boy, is back. Loco's out there clipping it up a storm. I think that's pretty much everybody.
Brawlhalla.
Oh, Slosha. I know I saw his name.
Part of the Creed.
That's my boy right there. Of course, Young Boy Creed, my very good friend, part of the Creed. Thank you to Blue Mammoth Games for getting this bad boy up on their Twitch channel. Thank you, Twitch, for existing so that this thing can all be possible. And of course, thank you to my very dear friend sitting to my right, I believe. What's your name again?
I'm Duke Designated Asian. How's it going? You are?
I'm Sparky878. And thank you, everybody. Take care. Have a wonderful weekend.